Hello, I'm Dynas Demir.
Peace, fam. I hope all is well. Let me get myself situated. Hope you're Tuesday, 2 o'clock here in Atlanta with 2:04. I just hope everything is going well. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button as you come into the chat room. Again, please hit the like button as you come into the chat room. Also, make sure you share the content. Again, please share the content. I'm reading some of the comments in the chat room already. We're going to jump into the topic here shortly. But before, we got to pay those bills. We got to pay those bills before we jump into the topic. Again, we got to pay those bills before we jump into the topic. Listen, if you have not bought the documentary, if you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, listen, if you're watching this, if you watch this, if you have not bought the documentary, please go to searchforuhuru.com. Shout out to Ivy Dreams, our D9 sister in the chat room, or our AKA sister in the chat room. Shout out to her in the chat room, everyone. If you have not bought the documentary In Search for Uhuru, please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. I need all hands on deck. Listen, this documentary, the reviews are coming in and everyone's saying, Dynas, this documentary inspired me, to either A, finally go to the continent, because I see, when people watch the documentary, they're like, Dynas, I have so many reservations in regards to actually traveling to Africa. Again, they will say, hey, Dynas, I've had so many reservations in regards to traveling to Africa. But after watching your documentary, Dynas, that lit the fire. All right, and motivated me to actually go. Again, they said it motivated me and lit a fire for me to actually go to the continent. All right, so go to searchforuhuru.com, click on that link, and buy the documentary. I will greatly, 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 greatly appreciate it, because we're motivating people to travel to the continent. Instead of going to France, and I guess the hot spot now is Talcum, Mexico, Talcum, something like that. Go be amongst our people. Again, go and be amongst our people. Go home, go to the roots, and this is what this is motivating people to do. So go to searchforuhuru.com and please buy the documentary. Again, please buy the documentary. Also, we're running a contest. All right, it started on Sunday. Not if, but when. Again, not if, but when 3,000 copies are bought it started on, I guess that would be the 7th to the 27th of this month, when 3,000 copies are bought or streamed. You stream it on the site. So again, you stream the documentary on the site. So when you purchase the stream, again, you purchase. This is not a rental. It's yours. And all you have to do is log in. Again, all you have to do is log in, and you're able to view the documentary after you buy it. Again, all you have to do is log in, and you're able to view the documentary after you buy it. So once you buy the documentary, set up your login. Again, you can watch it whenever you want to. But back to the contents. When 3,000 copies are purchased between the 7th, which was on Sunday, to the 27th, so it's 3 weeks. 3,000 copies are purchased. Again, 3,000 copies are purchased. I am going to select a lucky winner. Again, I am going to select a lucky winner, and you will win a trip on one of our tours. Again, you will win a trip on one of our tours. Again, I'm going to select a lucky winner, and you're going to win a trip on one of our tours. Okay. So that's the contest. So all you have to do, how you enter, go to watching you now at work as I create another email. Okay, delete that. And listen, you can enter as much as you want to. You have as many entries as you want, create as many email addresses as you want, spend the $10.99. Listen, your name gets drawn. We hit that threshold of 3,000 by the 27th. And there's going to be a drawing. We're going to do it on the 28th. Your name gets selected. You're going to win a trip on one of our tours. You're going to win a trip on one of our tours. So that's what we're doing. I appreciate the support. Also, travel. Okay. If you're interested in going to Africa with us next year or even this year, if you want to roll to Sierra Leone with us, and get your passport, your Sierra Leone passport. Okay. You qualify for this. You know, if you're a last minute person, you want to roll, go to donfo.africa. Again, donfo.africa. Link is on the screen, and link will be in the chat room. Again, link is on the screen, and link will be in the chat room. All right, so go to donfo.africa. Again, go to donfo.africa and check out where we're going. If you find yourself in Vegas, I'd love to meet you, bro. Listen, Categorism, have you bought the documentary? Because listen, I don't plan on coming to Vegas, bro. I'll just be honest. I don't have any plans to come to Vegas, but I'll do this: buy the documentary, set up a showing. We'll figure out a number, how much it'll cost for me to come out there, and I'll hop on a plane, no problem. I'll hop on a plane, no problem. Also, if you are in the Atlanta area, okay, and if you have bought the documentary and you want to schedule a viewing, I'll come through. You just got to feed me. If you're in Atlanta, I have no problem coming through, watching the documentary with your friends and your family. I got no problem doing that. So if you're in Atlanta, you buy the documentary, we can set that up. Everybody who's watching this, please buy the documentary. If you have not, go to searchforahuru.com. All right, let's jump into today's topic. We'll open up the lines here in about 20 minutes. Oh, today's election day. Today is election day. Again, today is election day. So if your candidate doesn't win, all right, don't be a poor sport, okay? Don't be a poor sport. Again, if your candidate does not win, do not be a poor sport. Professor Karen, have you bought the documentary yet? Professor Karen, have you bought the documentary yet? Professor Karen, have you bought the documentary yet? Again, if your candidate has not won, I'm going to check it out. Bro, buy the document. Listen, guys, go right now. Go to searchforahuru.com. Okay, y'all, go to searchforahuru.com and buy the documentary. Go to searchforahuru.com and buy the documentary. Everybody who's watching this, go buy the documentary. Again, everybody who is watching this, go and buy the documentary. Like, I'm passionate about it. It's inspiring folks to travel, inspiring folks to document, to write, to put their story out there. I got a message from a young lady today. Hold on, let me read this message real quick. I got a message from a young lady today. This is what she said. Let me read this message. She said, I absolutely enjoyed this. Kudos to you. I've been wanting to get my story out there via book or other medium. Thanks for the inspiration. Bam. That's what she said. She sent that to me today. So again, guys, Going by the documentary. All right. There's 99 of you guys watching. Everyone, there should be no reason why everyone who's watching this does not have a copy of the documentary if you rock with Dynasty Mir. All right. So topic today, the whole Black Hebrews were the Black Jews. That has been a topic of conversation, this past week, past couple weeks because of the Kyrie Irving situation. And guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Again, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Professor Karen Renee McIntyre, where are you, Professor, at? Professor Karen Renee McIntyre, where are you a professor at? Where do you profess? What university in the chat room? Baba Bell, have you bought the documentary? Afrat Op, have you bought the documentary? But Professor, yeah, I do a talk with him, Saura Garvey. Yeah, no problem. Where are you a professor at? But yeah, but like I said, the conversation has been going on in regards to Kyrie Irving and the book. He was Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. So, my question is, when it comes to Black folks, especially in America, we Native Americans, now we Hebrews, University of North Carolina at Wilmington. So, Professor, when can I come speak? Can you, I don't know how, Professor, I've seen you in the chat a number of times. When can I come speak to the school? I know there's a budget for that to bring people in and speak. When can we get that set up? Let's get that set up. I'll pull up. I know there's a budget for it. Whoever you need to talk to, let's do it. The African American Studies Department, African Studies Department, Black Studies Department, History Studies Department. Let's make it happen. But again, so there's been this ongoing conversation in regards to Black folks being Hebrews. Again, in regards to Black folks being Hebrews. And my thing is, so we have always had our Big King Kingston. I just got my copy. Thank you, brother. Hey, man, shout out to Big King Kingston. And listen, bro, if you're in Atlanta, set something up, I'll slide through. You got to be in Atlanta, though. You got to be in Atlanta. And you got to have some food. I have no problem pulling up, but you got to have some food. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support, man. That means a lot. Thank you for the support. Thank you for having the initiative and doing it now. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. But again, I'm just trying to figure out what is our obsession with King James. Again, what is our obsession with King James? What is our obsession with the Quran? Why are we so anti our own traditional African religions? Because like Brother Larry said, let me read this comment by Larry. Larry, have you bought the documentary, Larry? There is no archaeological, anthropological evidence that a man named Abraham even existed. That's just facts. And listen, I'm going to open up the lines if you could prove me wrong. If you can prove me wrong, you know how we do. I'll admit, listen, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Somebody in terms says King James is a black man called Jacobite, later called, oh man, here we go. Again, we have our own African religion, spirituality, sciences that came directly from our ancestors, and there's no confusion on who brought it to us, because we didn't bring it to it. Because no one brought it to us. It's our own indigenous African spirituality. We already have it. We already have all that in place. We already have our version of the 10 commandments, like the laws and rules to live by. We have that. In fact, you know what? Mansa, look at my prayer closet, my closet. Look up and there's a book. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. I want to show you guys something. Like I'm gonna show you guys something. Like we already have, like our within our spirituality, we already have everything we need when it comes to African spirituality within each and different ethnic group. I don't want to say tribe, ethnic group, and how to conduct ourselves and how to live and produce. No, not that one. The other one. It's a bigger one. It's a bigger one. The big one. The big one. Yes. We already have all of that. We already have all of that. I'm about to show you guys a book. But Alicia, what you have to understand, all of this came before the Bible. That's the point you don't. That's the point I'm trying to make. All right, Dynast, that's all facts. And many of the concepts, such as Ifa, the Trinity, is all ancient information is coded in the Bible. All of this came before the Bible. All of it. So I'm trying to figure out our obsession with King James when all of this came before the Bible. Thank you, Manson. We have books like this. Miriam, you make a great point. You know what? We'll cover that, Miriam. Because I would, you know what, Miriam, I agree with you. Miriam makes a great point in regards to the infrastructure, in regards to communities centered around this, as far as schools. You make a good point, but hold on. Right here. This book right here is somewhat like our Bible. And there's no confusion, no, Abraham and, all this other stuff. I don't know. But guys, listen, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. Please click on the link. Please click on the link. But Miriam brought up a great point in regards to the lack of infrastructure when it comes to African spirituality, as far as, because you think about it, when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Christianity, there's universities, there's schools. I mean, just they have their own infrastructure completely, their own communities that are developed. When it comes to the traditional religion, there's a lack and void in that. They have institutions. There you go. There's institutions in place. Again, there's institutions in place. And Miriam brings a great point. And you know what? She brings a great point. I can't argue with that. There's a lack of actual institutions when it comes to African spirituality. She has a point. But why haven't we built those institutions? Here we go. Why are we not building those institutions centered around African spirituality, but instead we're choosing to build institutions amongst foreign religions like Islam and Christianity? So I'm going to put the link in the chat room. We'll take a quick commercial break. Please call in And please hit the like button again. Please call in and please hit the like button.
Hey, you guys, it is your girl Alexis Fowler coming to you with a special sale of 40% off all of my services when you use promo code VIP40 at alexisfowler.com. As a brand designer and consultant, I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company and you need help with branding and graphic design, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity with 40% off using promo code VIP40 to get 40% off on all my services at alexisfowler.com.
Shiva, go ahead.
Greetings. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
I'd just like to say peace and blessings to everyone, continued praises and veneration to our benevolent ancestors. May they continue to be pleased with us, and all praise to the Most High. Yeah, I think this is a great topic. I think, to your point, our African traditional systems, spiritual systems, and I'd focus on primarily the West African ones because that's what I have some rudimentary understanding about. Yes, they're self-sufficient. They're not only self-sufficient, they're a cultural and lifestyle sort of paradigm. And Africa was thriving when we were embracing them. I think with the imposition of these other traditions, and I say imposition because they're alien to the African continent, all these Abrahamic traditions. I think it's part and parcel of colonization and, the adoption of certain, like Christianity in the Congo by certain kings, and you have the same thing in Ethiopia. But there was prior traditional African traditions, spiritual traditions prior to that. I think now, I think in the extreme, it's on a spectrum. I think in the extreme, people's embracing of it is just tantamount to self-hate and wanting to be everything except African, particularly in the U.S. We see this, and I think it's sad, but it's par for the course. Um, I think everyone has the right to practice and embrace whatever traditions they want. My problem predominantly with the Abrahamic ones, principally Christianity and Islam, is it dictates there's a sort of supremacy that goes with it, right? I think people need to understand that they're antithetical to sort of African spiritual traditions in the sense that they relegate what we do to primitive, backwards, demonic, whether that's ancestral veneration, dealing with shrines, which they regard as idols. So I think I would posit to one the question, can you truly be African centered and practice a spiritual tradition such as an Abrahamic one that's antithetical to our cultural African sort of identity?
Hey, Leo, go ahead, Leo. Well, let me unmute you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Leo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dinas. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, so I decided to call in because I was actually waiting for a show like this because I saw one of your videos yesterday where you interviewed, I think, an Igbo man or something, and he was just saying like things that were kind of weird, because there's this thing that I believe that when I was young, they said what your elder can see sitting, you cannot see it standing on top of a building. But, one thing I learned as I grew up is that, not that wisdom is different from experience. Wisdom is something that comes from God. Experience is something that comes from, age and all that stuff, So people can be old and not be wise, but they'll have a lot of experience. So, this thing about religion is the topic that I want to address, because people, one of the biggest problem we have in Africa today is we, let me start from Nigeria because I'm from Nigeria. Now, in 2007, the government of Nigeria removed history as a core subject. Can you imagine every one in every 5 African is a Nigerian? So 1 in every 5 African born from 2007 upwards till today doesn't have proper knowledge about history. Imagine how bad that is, and it is still there till today. There are some people who are fighting to get it back on, but 1 in every 5 African doesn't understand history, and that is why you have arguments like this. People don't really know what is going on. Now, let me come to the issue of religion. The Egyptians were practicing philosophy, like, because then they didn't really know much about God, but they wanted to know. So the first scientists, the first philosophers were Egyptians, and that's why we have the anchor. It looks like a cross, but it's not a cross. They were, they were doing a lot of research, a lot of studying, and then slowly they formed an alliance, or they formed some kind of friendship with the Israelites. That was when, if you go through the Bible, there was a point when Joseph, who came to Egypt as a slave, was able to warn the king about famine that was coming, and then as a reward, the king said, okay, I will make you a governor and this and that. So Joseph then went back to Israel and brought his family, his dad, Jacob, and all his brothers that sold him out. Now, let me make this thing clear about religion. Christianity, or let me say Judaism, I believe it's an African religion. I've always believed this. God gave the 10 commandments on Mount Sinai, which is in Egypt. He didn't give it in Israel. He gave it to them in Egypt. So I don't know when people start saying,
He gave food the 10 Commandments.
Moses, yes, he
Yeah,
gave it.
okay. What evidence is there that any of the Moses, Jacob, Abraham, Paul, Peter, what evidence is there that any of these people even existed?
Yes, now that's a good question. Like, this takes us to Ethiopia, because of all the countries in Africa, thankfully, Ethiopia was not colonized. So they still have a lot of history that dates back more than 1,000 years.
Liberia wasn't colonized either, but go ahead.
Yes. Liberia wasn't colonized, but there was also there was like an interference, like an attempt to disrupt their system. But the Ethiopians, like theirs, it was very hard to disrupt because the Ethiopians were one-minded. You could not like penetrate them, so they kept a whole lot of things, including the Ark of the Covenant, which they claim to have till today. The government of Israel has not denied it. Menelik took it the from the temple during the reign of his father, who is King Solomon, and he took it to Ethiopia, and Ethiopia claimed to have it till today, and nobody has denied it. So I believe that Judaism is an African religion, and Christianity is basically Judaism, because Jesus never called himself a Christian. The term Christian was basically invented by Gentiles. It was not invented by Jesus himself. Jesus was born a Jew. Jesus died a Jew. And he
all this was invented by
Dinus.
Yeah. Okay.
Dinus,
So
one second.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is an African-centered panel. I mean, I'm not much for the evangelism and the spinning.
Well, no, right, bro. But bro, I don't. I mean, so with my panels, I'm for balance, so I don't mind other people coming in and giving their viewpoints. It's only right.
Yeah. Yes. Let me just give one point now. Let me go back to the African, because that seems to be what people want to hear. And one thing that Africans don't know is that one of the biggest, in fact, one of the primary cause of downfall of Africa was this spirituality thing. And I'll give you an example. In my state, not even in Nigeria, Nigeria has 36 states. In my state, Enugu State, just one state. If you go to one community, they worship snake. You go to another one, they worship tortoise. You go further, up this, people are worshiping all manner of things. And when you go to them, they'll tell you that this is my faith. We have been practicing it for many, many years. You cannot touch us. And if there are some parts of my state, if you're driving and you mistakenly just run over a python, you better not leave that place. You better make sure you pay some things, do some libation there, because if you leave without dropping something there, the people that worship that snake as their god, they will come after you with witchcraft in a way that you will not believe. Like, there are people who say it doesn't work, but those things work. if you're not someone who prays very hard, they walk. So this spirituality thing, what it created was a lot of people were practicing so many things, and Africans who became divided mentally. This one is worshiping snake, this one is worshiping this one is worshiping statue. So mentally, that was how we were divided. If you even cross Nigeria, you go to Niger, they have their own. You go to Mali, they have their own, and everybody believes that their own is superior. So, but if you compare it,
right, but bro, I just asked, like, what proof is there of any of these characters existing in the Bible? Then we're gonna pass it.
Yeah, so there is proof, let us say, of the Apostle Mark. It is believed that the Apostle Mark died in Ethiopia, and I believe they have proof to that. It is also believed that Menelik I was the son of King Solomon. So King Solomon existed. Everybody.
Okay, but when I mean proof, so prime example in Egypt, I mean, you know, you have archaeologists who go to the pyramids, they uncover different relics, different tombs, you know, they carbon dating, all this other stuff. I'm just asking, where's the proof of any of these characters in the Bible that they actually existed? That's all I'm asking. Now, bro, you can believe what you want to. I won't knock anybody for believing what they want. But I'm just saying, where's the archaeological proof that any of these people existed?
To answer that question, I wouldn't answer it fully because I have not done very deep research. Like, because I'm a PhD student, I always like to do deep research, very, very deep before I speak. So, but one thing that I will close with is that Jewish people have lived in Africa for very long, even down to the 19th century. If you look at Libya, they were hundreds of thousands. Wait,
he's not answering the question.
I am kind of closing up because I'm not trying to, you know, it's like I try not to speak on something that I'm not very sure of. Like, I always try, because when we do PhD work, we reference everything. So if I'm not super sure of something, I haven't done very deep, I don't speak on it. So, but I strongly believe that we have been practicing Judaism for very long. If you were to Google search the Judean Jews of Libya, you will see them. They are black people. They look even blacker than me. So I don't know why people are surprised when people who say that they are Jewish and they are African, why people think that it is not true. Like,
right, exactly. I mean, but Jewish is, I mean, my understanding, Jewish is a race. So yeah, I could convert to Judaism right now and say I'm a Jew. So I mean, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah, I do. Hold on a second.
Don't let him pivot, Dynas. You asked a very direct.
Well, he doesn't have the answer. He doesn't have the answer, which is pretty much clear.
Well, can he concede that instead of the tap dancing he was doing? Does he?
I don't want to say I don't have the answer. I will say I have not verified the answer, because the people of Ethiopia claim that the Apostle Mark, not the Apostle Matthew, died in Egypt. The Apostle Mark was in Ethiopia. The Apostle Philip died in Tunisia. So until I'm able to verify it and say, okay, this thing is true, I don't want to say something without verifying it myself.
Well, hold on. Let me pass it to Chaotic Wisdom. Chaotic Wisdom, go ahead.
Hey, Dynas, to answer the question of the video, what I think from my observations and from the reading that I've done, and I don't know if you've heard of a brother called John Alambila Azuma. He's from, I believe it's Chad. He wrote a book about the legacy of Arab Islam in Africa. And there's many others. There's not by him, but the Kaiser's Holocaust that happened in Angola. The culture, and I'm from Missouri, from St. Louis originally, the culture of Black people were stripped away to such a point that I feel like we try to grasp onto anything, that any tradition or ritual practice, and I'm talking about the diaspora, not in Africa. I've never been, so I don't know, but to try to give ourselves some meaning. And we never look back to Africa writ large for guidance. And a lot of my friends will, even some family members, will talk about the Hebrew Israelite movement or the Islamic movement, and I always bring them back to the Bantu, to the Zulus, to South Africa, to the Congo, and ask, why aren't you propping these people up? Why aren't you identifying with these people? Because these are the people whose bloodlines we come from. And they seem not to have pride in it for some reason. And I'm not completely sure why that is. Maybe the spectacle of other religions excite them more. But me personally, I find beauty in the Bantu tribes, the sub-Saharan African tribes, and Africa as a whole. And I think that's what's missing, especially here in the United States, Black wanting to be Hebrews or Islamic or Christian and just completely dismissing the home territory without even a second thought. I'd like to know how you feel about that.
You want to answer that, Leo? Then we'll pass it to Elvis.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Let me start by, there was something that he said, which I was going to type in the comment section. He said something about Hebrew. And I have lived in America for 7 years now. So I kind of am familiar with some of the issues that people have here with racism and all that stuff, and how it has affected people's self-esteem and identity. The Hebrew itself is a language. It's not even a race. It's not a, so when I see people say they are Hebrew Israelites, I'm kind of confused. Like, what
I
do you mean?
understand that. I
Yeah.
understand that. I was using that as a descriptor, but I definitely get that.
Yes. Yeah. So, and one thing I will say as an African is I am proud of my culture. Like whenever I go back home, I always try to, my dad was very strong on it. And I believe every African should be proud of their culture. There's a difference between your culture and your spirituality. In my culture, the way we marry, before you,
But
like, if a
do
girl
you
was to,
do
let's say,
you agree that culture is largely driven by spirituality or vice versa? Because I believe that the way that the Africans descendants in the US are, we have no real connection back to it. And I again, experience, reading books, the books that I read are no substitute for experience, but I read them purposely so I can have some sort of connection back to Africa, so I can understand. And I think that we're devoid of it. We were ripped from a culture and torn from spirituality, and we can't find our way back because
to answer that question, I would say you probably need to go on one of the trips with Mr. Diners, because he travels a lot and he gets to see those things, and he has a few trips coming on. And if you were to go on those trips, you will get to see the way Africans live. And nobody will need to tell you, you will just appreciate it, because it's like we have, structures to things. Like, let's say now, when I was younger, if a woman was to get pregnant before she got married, oh my Lord, I don't even know how to describe. Like the way the whole community will be on your case, it's like you committed a war crime,
Well, that's how it was in the Black community too. That's where the term shotgun marriage came from.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we had so many rules, like we have so many rules that that we follow. And to answer one thing you said, that does spirituality affect culture? It does. Like in my own tribe, I would say the way we do things culturally is very it's very Israelite in nature. Like it has a lot of strong relationship to Israel, like the Old Testament.
I mean,
The way we marry, everything.
Israel didn't even exist until the 60s.
No, Israel actually existed before that, but after the fight with the Romans, because Israel existed first, then it broke up into northern Israel and Judah, over a disagreement over who would become the king and all that stuff. Then the Romans came and, after the war, they basically destroyed Israel completely, because the Romans hated the Jews. Even up to the early 90s, the Italians hated the Jews with passion. If they saw you in Africa and you identified as a Jew, what they did to the Jews in this country.
Leo, Leo, when you say you have a lot of common with Israel, like what specifically?
Because the people of Israel had a common practice when it comes to marriage, when it comes to cleanliness, like the way, like the people of Israel are obsessed with things being clean, like and we are obsessed with God. Let us say now the naming system. In my family now, my name is Uchechukwu. My elder brother's name is Ugochukwu. The one after him is Ikechukwu. The one above that one is Emeka Chukwu. So my name is Mind of God. My elder brother's name means Crown of God. The one after him means Strength of God. So we put God in all our names. And this was even before the British came. Like, we have been doing this thing for thousands of years. Is how we are. Like the Igbo people, we put God very, like, it is the first. And one of the problems the British had with us was they could not understand us because we didn't have any king, like any king that had so much power. When they went to the north, they saw the Sultan and they saw the Emir. Those people had so much power. So they were able to say, okay, these are the people that will deal with and control this tribe. When they came to the Yoruba side, they had kings, that had significant power. When they went to Benin, they had the Oba of Benin. The Oba of Benin was really powerful. If he tells his guards to kill you, they will kill you. Like, he was very, very strong. But when they came to the southeast, where the Igbos were, they saw autonomous communities that didn't really have kings with so much power, and they were like, "What do these people?
Leah,
Who
real
are these
quick.
people?" Yeah.
So your Igbo, from my understanding, the traditional ancient practice of the Igbo is Odinani.
Yes.
So what similarities with Israel and Odinani do you see? Because that seems
Yes. So Ordinani is an Igbo word that means laws of the land. So you can take it to mean commandments. So we had our own laws, and everybody have to follow that law. So
I mean, Leo, I think you're cherry picking now. That's pretty much every community that I have visited, as far as every ethnic group. It's all the same.
I personally don't believe that.
Yeah, that's why
I don't think I don't think it is.
Okay. Listen, this is Yoruba. Okay,
Yeah.
that's same thing. They have laws that you abide to, that you follow. Like every
But
community I've been
but
to, it's the same.
But those laws are different, and that is why it's so difficult for Nigerians to work together as a unit now, because the disparity between the Igbo ways of doing things and the ways of people from like the top north, like the like the upper north, is so different. Like, culturally, I don't even know. It is so different. So
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
up north they converted to Islam pretty early, so that's
It was, but that was a conquest conversion. Based on what I've read, it was forced, and it was in the
right.
beginning it wasn't
No,
necessarily.
the guy's name was Don Fodio. Don
and
Fodio.
Don
yeah.
Fodio, yes, you're right. And he, if you go back, and again, I'll refer to John M. Allen Boyle. He talks about that conquest first being solved in the Africans who were there with their own spiritual.
Hey, you went out. We can't hear you. You went out.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
At first, it was the African. I'm here, sir. I'm sorry about that. It was first done through trade. And the Africans who were there, according to the book, were infatuated with the spirituality of the Arabs who came. And once they converted enough Africans in the north, they started their war jihad, and they started to kill the indigenous tribes of the north and force conversion into Islam. It was never something that was natural to Africa. Abrahamic religions, as far as I can tell, were not. And from the numbers that I'm gaining, it was somewhere near 20 million blacks that were killed in that slaughter. Not only there, to the slave trade in Zanzibar took a lot also. But I do acknowledge the Ethiopian connection to Christianity and Jews, only because I am familiar with the Ethiopian Bible. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to read the book of Enoch now. It's supposed to only be available in the Ethiopian Bible. I believe they have 88 books, but I haven't gone through them all.
Let me pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
Yeah, thank you, Dinas. I just want to give my little opinion about what it means to be a Jew, right? And my understanding is that in the north you had the kingdom of Judah, which consisted of Benjamin and Judah, and those people who dwell in the kingdom of Judah was called Yahudims, or Jews, right? So the other 10 tribes didn't refer to themselves as Jews because they wasn't part of the kingdom of Judah. They were part of the nation of Israel, ancient Israel. So when people ask what it means to be a Jew, if you're from the tribe of Benjamin and Judah, those are the two tribes that are quote unquote found. So they refer to themselves as Yahudim or Jew, or people who are from the kingdom of Judah. The other 10 tribes are lost. So most people who call themselves Jews tend to trace their lineage back to either Benjamin, the younger brother, or Judah, which is the king, the elder of the two brothers. So that's what my understanding of what so-called modern day Jews are called Jews because they're from the kingdom of Judah, and those two tribes, the Benjamites and the Judeans, or those are who we call the Jews today. But then let me go to the topic with African spirituality. You know, no offense to you, Dinas, and other people who kind of go into Africa and dabble into the religions, the traditional religion. But if you actually live in Africa, if you live in the villages, you live in the towns, and you experience the so-called, quote unquote, like the brother was saying, African religion, there's a lot of there's a lot of evilness, there's a lot of witchcraft that goes on, there's a lot of ritualistic killings that goes on for in these religions. You have enmities, people who are worshiping rivers and rocks, and and all sorts of idolatry that happen in those religions. Now, all religion is not is not created equal. So if some of us see the light, and maybe we find Christianity, or some people may find Islam, we see that for ourselves, and we realize that these are better religion for us. Going to my people are forest people. I'm from Liberia. We in the southeast we have a mountain called the Putu Mountain. That's where most of the people from the southeast, they worship that mountain because they believe their God is in that mountain. If you understand my tribe history, or the people from the southeast, the God that they worship, if you look at his description, he's pretty much a demon, a fallen angel with wings, with with hooves and all type of shit like that. And really is a demonic religion for the most part. I don't know about all African religion, but for the most part, what the Bible tells you not to follow is exactly what these people were following. So if you believe in African spirituality, but you don't live in Africa to really experience it for what it truly is, you're not getting the full picture. So I'm not going to come on this platform and advocate for quote unquote, following African traditional religion if you don't fully understand what it does to the society, what the rituals are, the kind of things that happen in the villages, the people who get afflicted by it. So I'm not going to go, delve too deep into my religious belief in terms of being a Christian, but I would just warn people against it, because if you think you can just go into, voodoo, or do something because you think it's African, is going to make you more African, you got a whole nother thing coming. You got to study it more
Well,
and do your research.
I'll tell you this. I've never been to Africa, but I spent quite a bit of time in the Middle East. And I can tell you from religious reading, there's not one religion that I can think of that hasn't practiced in human sacrifice of some type, or bloody rituals that to any other civilized person would be looked at as despicable. But I'd like to ask you a question. Through whose lens do you see these things as demonic? Is it through the lens of the Abrahamic religions? And um, what by what measurement do you call these things evil?
Okay, good question. And I would just say this: there's only two Abrahamic religion. Islam is not Abrahamic. People get that wrong. You know, and maybe you can answer that later on. But Ishmael didn't. Ishmael is not Arab, right? He's an Israelite. He's from Abraham. He's not an Israelite, but he's a Semite. From Abraham. So when his mother took him, back, which his mother is from Egypt. So you're coming from Israel and Egypt. You're not from Saudi Arabia. When he went to Arabia, there was already Arab people. He married an Arabian woman, but he wasn't the father of the Arab. So he can't hit, Islam can be a Abrahamic religion because Ishmael didn't found Islam. It was founded by Muhammad, which has no, trace back to Ishmael. But let's just forget about that. But
That's the
quickly
first time I heard that, though. But I appreciate it.
Do you dispute it, or do you disagree with
I
it?
can't dispute it because it's the first time I heard it. I'd have to read more
Okay. But then let's go forward to when you ask, about human sacrifices. Now, as a Christian, we don't practice human sacrifice.
No more.
When did we practice it before?
The Inquisitions happened. Whether you want to consider
With
those human sacrifices or just death because of apostasy, they were still killing people.
Yeah, but it wasn't like you said, it wasn't human sacrifice. What's
They
a human
weren't
sacrifice?
offerings. They weren't
You're
offerings
yeah,
to the
you're off
god for sure,
exactly,
but
exactly.
they were still merciless killings of people who didn't believe in what you believed in.
Conquest, right? Conquest
Yeah.
is different than human sacrificing. So what I'm trying to tell you, even right now in my country, in my region, in my country, there's what we call, ritualistic killings. These people would kill, babies or young girls who are virgin, take their body parts to go do ritual for money, for political power. And these things have been going on for centuries in my country, even in the political sphere. Even during the time of the Liberian rule, there were some of these guys who was doing these kind of, ritualistic killings for power. And these people who came from America believing this, in this stuff, they was even seeking these traditional witch doctors to do traditional sacrifices. So it's an evil thing, whether you try to agree with it or not. It's an evil thing. Some people may find other religion in West Africa who, which is good in certain aspect, worshiping the ancestors and all that stuff. But for me, I'm a Christian, so my worldview, my point of view is based on my Christian Bible. If you said Jesus was white, if he wasn't white, I agree with that. The Bible even talks against having images of Jesus Christ or even God. So it's not Jesus that paints himself white. It's the people who had the power and who had the means to try to portray him as white. But I don't look at I don't pray to a white Jesus. I pray to Jesus in spirit, like the Bible said, pray to your God in spirit. So I'm not here to argue about the ethnicity of Jesus Christ. But I'm telling you, if you live in Africa, I'm saying that Diners goes to Africa a lot, people visit. But for those of us who lived in villages, who live in towns, who have seen these things, we know what we're talking about. So I warn people against it. People in the chat, don't just dabble into African spirituality. Don't do these little sage things, because you're bringing a lot of things upon yourself that you really, really don't understand. And people who lived in
Consider
that life, they're afraid of it. That's why they convert to Christianity. Some of them convert to Islam, but we know what it is for, what it truly is, and it's
consider
not.
the
Most of the
possibility
time, it's
that
not good.
African religions didn't have the time or protection to refine themselves the way that protected religions like Christianity and Islam did. They were wrecked from the outside in.
One of the the people in who convert to these different religions, a
Mhm.
lot of them are Africans.
Yeah.
So you can't tell them, just looking from the outside in. These people live that experience. That's why you see
No,
so many churches in
I
Africa. That's
don't
why you see
bash.
a lot of African
I,
converting, because they know what their
I
religion
don't bash
was.
anybody for whatever their religious believes are. All right. I'm just looking at it from a point of I'm here. I'm from Missouri, like I said. There's a pretty wide, you know, there's a pretty wide differentiality of people here. All these people can reach back to certain things. All the people here who are German can reach back to Germany. The Greeks can reach back to Greece. The Turks can reach back to Turkey, and so on and so forth. But there, I, I don't want to hinder Black Americans from reaching back to Africa and seeing what it was before it was touched by people from the Caucasus region of the world.
One of the greatest things that happened to Black America, and is Christianity. In Africa, we hear a lot of beautiful, gospel songs.
Elvis, stop it, bro.
Oh my God.
Stop it,
Oh
bro. Stop it,
Hold
bro.
on, hold on. I'm only giving
Bro,
you this from my
not
point of view.
bro.
You can
Listen,
you can disagree with me, right? But I'm
listen,
trying to tell you, I see people on this platform you
listen,
think you
bro.
can hold on, bro. Let me
Bro,
ask you a question. You think you can get an African Christian, right, who have converted to Jesus Christ, to revert back to his African traditional religion? You think that's where our strength is?
Do you
Yes.
think you could
I
stop
grew up
a
Catholic,
Black
bro.
American?
Hey,
Do you
hold
think
up.
you
I
could
get
stop
into
a
this.
Black? Go ahead.
I, I grew up Catholic. I was Jehovah's Witnesses for like 3, 4 years. I back to voodoo. I'm Haitian. I grew up around that culture, bro. So don't get all this scare tactics, bro. Have you ever read the Bible? I don't believe in the Bible. I know the Bible. You don't even know what you're practicing. Okay.
Tell me
So
where I'm. Tell me since you
okay,
think you know the
Daniel,
Bible.
this okay. You talking about how this religions and African spiritual, they're evil, they do all this stuff. Have you ever read the Old Testament?
Give me an example. I've read it Old Testament
Okay,
multiple
that
times.
is.
Give me an example.
Can you pull it up? If you could pull up Numbers 31st chapter verse, I think 16 through 18.
Should I pull out my Bible? Got just about every holy book from the Mahabharata to the Bible. So
So this guy, he's practicing what? You're a Hindu or Buddhist?
no, I just study them all.
Because your name is a
Okay.
Hindu
Can you
name,
read
right?
that for me, please?
I'm
16 through
listening.
18.
I'm gonna do it in the Hebrew Israelite style. Number
Exactly.
31, 16
through
verse
18.
16 through 18. Read. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful to the Lord in the pure incident, so that a plague struck the Lord's people. Now kill all the boys and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man.
Those sound like sacrifices to me.
No. So technically, this is African spirituality is evil, right? But this is your God, right? That you believe in literally. That said, kill every boys, every man, and every girl that have slept with a man, but all the girls that haven't slept with a man. And guess what? Take it for yourself. If you go
They
by
do it to
that,
the
then that's
satisfaction of their
pedophilia, bro.
God.
Take it for yourself. So sleep with girls that have it.
Oh,
That means that's not even have age.
these are what
Bro,
the heathens do. You don't read the
no.
Bible that
That's
way.
the
You
Israel.
don't take
No, what?
You don't
No,
take
I don't
one
believe it.
verse
I
and
don't
read the
listen.
Bible.
That's what God told the Israel to do if you believe it. No, those stuff never
No.
happened. That's not a history book.
What
This
came
is a
before that? What's the
this is
context?
it doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't
No,
matter
you
no
can't
context.
say it doesn't matter. Of course it
Bro,
matters. The Bible is
bro,
a book of
let
books.
me ask you.
You have to read the
Listen,
context. What came before that?
it
What
doesn't
was the
have no
transgression
context when
and why did
somebody
God go
said
to that
kill.
level?
Bro, it doesn't matter when somebody said kill. That's why you guys,
No,
religious people,
If you
commit the most
read a
atrocity,
passage in
bro.
the Bible where it says God flooded the entire
Religious
earth,
people,
you will say, "Oh,
bro,
God is terrible." But then
listen,
what happened before that?
religious
What
people,
preceded that before
bro,
the flood?
religious people commit the most atrocity, bro, because it took common sense from you.
Agreed with that.
Okay, that's
Bro,
why you
you
guys.
say
I'm looking at the
you say you're
crusade.
from Haiti, right? You say you're from
Yeah,
Haiti?
yeah. I used to be Catholic.
No,
Jehovah
forget
Witnesses.
about
I'm back to
you
African.
are
Go
using
ahead.
I used to be Catholic. You know what goes on in Haiti, right?
What about it?
No, the religious thing that goes on in Haiti. What do you guys do in Haiti?
What religion are you speaking of?
Voodoo in Haiti.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
No, I'm asking you. You know what goes on there, right? So
Yes, most Haitians
let
don't.
me just say this
Most
to you.
Haitians does not practice voodoo.
Most people who profess to be Christians, especially people who are so-called African spiritualists or people who dabble in other quote unquote satanic religions, they try to mix their their religion in with Christianity. So most of these people are not true Bible believing Christians. They may go to
Nah.
church as a tradition, but they're not fully
Listen,
following the word of God.
listen.
They will mix their
And you say,
tradition of beliefs
and you
in
just
with it.
said you told my man like you don't believe in sacrifice, but you believe in Jesus. Why was Jesus not a sacrifice? But you don't believe in human sacrifice, right?
Truth.
You say I don't. Yes, I don't believe in human sacrifice.
Why
Sacrificing
was
your
Jesus?
baby.
Why was Jesus? God sacrificed his own son.
So that you
So
don't
if it
have to make any. Yeah, so that you don't have to make any more
so it's
sacrifices.
okay. It's okay for God to sacrifice his own son.
Yes, that was the tradition of
Listen,
the people of
if you
Israel, right?
that's what I
They used
said.
to
No,
sacrifice the sheep, the lamb, and Jesus was the everlasting lamb
listen.
for your sins.
There is no such thing of Israel, no land of Israel. You don't know what Israel means.
What did I say just now? I didn't
Israel.
say land. I said lamb,
There's no
a baby
people
sheep.
of Israel. It's not a history book. That stuff I literally, bro. They're not real. Noah had
Whatever
a
you
son
say,
at
bro.
500 years
That's
old.
your belief. That's
So okay,
fine.
let me ask you.
So
So
what do
you
you
believe
believe in
Noah?
now? You
Noah?
believe in voodoo? Voodoo
Bro,
is real?
Listen, bro. Bro,
What do
you
you
don't
believe
know
in now?
you don't know African
What do you
spirituality,
what do
bro.
you believe in now?
But you don't know African spirituality
I'm
because the
asking
Bible
you,
is
bro. You
African
say it's not
spirituality,
real. What do
bro.
you believe in? What you
You
believe
just
in
don't
is
know what
real?
you're looking at, huh?
I'm asking you a question. What do you believe in?
Bro,
Are you
I
atheist? You
believe in
don't believe in
African
anything,
spirituality.
or do you
No, I'm
believe
not.
in
I'm not.
African
I'm not an
spirituality? What do you
atheist.
believe in?
Of course, if you sit down, somebody teach you African spirituality, you're gonna see for what it is.
So you're African spiritualist, right?
I believe in African spirituality. Yes.
Okay, there you go. God,
I have multiple
God
Bible.
bless you.
If you know the Bible, you would know it's African spirituality, and not all of it because this book has different books. Some books is different subject. Some books about diet. Some books is about
You're
like
from Haiti, right? You ever lived in Africa?
what I mean. But we got more voodoo than y'all. What you talking about? I grew up
There,
around this.
there you go.
What you talk? What you mean?
What does that
Bro,
what does that
people,
mean? We got more voodoo than
people.
you. What does that mean? You got
That's
more
what you try.
good.
You're not gonna
You got
scare
more
me like
good
that.
in
You're gonna
Africa.
make me
You
feel
got
bad.
more
I
good in
grew up
Africa,
with
or
it,
you
bro.
got more evilness in Haiti
Listen,
than in Africa.
listen.
Well,
I
again,
grew
this
up
is
with
Clarify
it.
that statement.
Mike,
this is
Elvis, if it
this
wasn't for voodoo, there would have
We
been
wouldn't
no,
get independence, bro.
there would be no Haitian independence. Voodoo will set
You
that
still
off.
be you still be enslaved
First
because
slave.
that independence put everything in motion.
I was never a
Okay,
slave,
Haiti
brother,
did well
but
with the
whatever.
you
independence.
still be colonized. We still be colonized. What you talking
I
about?
was I was never
You're
colonized
you're
either.
not gonna scare me, bro. I grew up in the church,
Elvis.
bro. You're not gonna scare me like say, oh,
Oh,
this is
somebody's calling my name.
Hold
people.
Go
on,
ahead. I think
hold
Listen,
on, 1 second.
Mufasa.
Let's pass the mic. Abraham the Hebrew. Go ahead. They'll pass the Mufasa.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can y'all hear me
Peace.
good?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not breaking up. So I just want to. So, Dinus, you spoke about showing the proof, right? Artifacts that Israelites and that the Bible, the people that we read about in the Bible, ever existed, right? So if you look up in Google, right, you can type in the British Museum, Assyrian relief, and you're going to see artifacts that was pulled from Assyria around the 700 BC. And the Assyrians, when they took the Israelites as slaves, which is wrote about inside the Bible, when they took them as slaves, they carved on the wall their conquering of the Israelite nation. They carved on the walls in Assyria the conquering of the Israelite nation. And these Europeans took these artifacts and brought them over to the British Museum. You can look it up on Google, and you're going to see the features. You're going to see what the Israelites look like. They had dreads in their hair. They had braids in their hair.
Bro, I asked specifically Abraham, Paul, John, Mark, Isaac, Jacob, who else? Moses. I'm not talking about
So,
carvings in a wall.
okay, but one of the carvings that they do have is of King Jehu, which you can read about in the scriptures, and I believe it's either in Chronicles. It's probably in the book of Chronicles. It talks about King.
Okay. Listen, the people who I would say the fathers, or what's the word? The fathers or the
Abraham,
forefathers
Isaac,
of the Judaic religion, Christianity religion. Where are they?
So, in a perfect world, right, we can dig up artifacts of every religion and every nation and culture of people going back thousands of years. But earthquakes happens, wars happen, burnings happen, people trying to hide information happen, stealing
Oh
things.
my God! Oh my God! Oh my hero.
Okay, come on, Dinus, you act like
Go
this
ahead.
is
Keep going. Go ahead.
but you acting like this is not true. There's Europeans who went to West Africa and stole paintings out of Benin and brought it to.
Right. And guess what? I could go to those museums in Europe, and they're right there.
Okay, but are you going to find every painting that they took? Probably not.
I mean, but there's enough there to support any argument when it comes to, I guess, West African art.
But
I just find it odd when it comes to anything having to do with the forefathers of Abrahamic religions. It's just can't nobody find nothing.
Yes, you can. So also in the Bible, Jacob was changed to Israel.
I'm not talking about. I mean, I could write any book. Mufasa's on there. I could say Mufasa was the king of Jupiter. Lived in Jupiter. I can make up anything and put it in a book. Again, I'm just saying, like, where's the evidence?
There is evidence. So, Israel, right? One of the forefathers of the nation of Israel. You got Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Israel is a grandson of Abraham. So his twin brother Esau, right? Edom, he became the father of who we call the Bible called the Edomites, right? These are black people, and they lived in the area right under Jerusalem.
They're not black. They're ruddy. What do you mean they're black people?
Relax.
See, y'all got to get y'all stories. See, y'all got to get y'all stories together. Y'all got to get your stories together.
Relax. You're gonna get your time. They lived in the area right under Jerusalem. It's called Edom. You can look it up on the map, on the biblical map. And if you go there today, there's a place in Edom called Petra. If you go there, they still have tombs.
Whoa, hold on. Israelites did not preserve bodies, if you understand the ancient culture. All right, forgive me. I went. Hold on, one second. I went to a Christian school. I need to brush up on my Christianity. Wasn't Jesus allegedly wrapped and put in a tomb that he rose from after 3 days?
But he wasn't wrapped like a mummy, like in Egypt.
No.
Exactly.
But they said they didn't preserve. That they didn't preserve bodies, but I swore, and correct me if I'm wrong, like Jesus was put in a tomb, right?
Yeah, they was laid in the tomb because of the Sabbath, there was a feast day that was going on, which is Passover, that was going on. It was Passover, and then the Feast of Unleavened Bread that was going on at that time. And if you know the Israelite culture, you can't do things on a high holy day like the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Sabbath. You're not allowed to do certain things on that day, so they had to lay his body down until after the high holy days was over, and then they do whatever they was going to do. But he rose from the dead. So now you might not believe that, it sounds like fairy tales, but I seen spirits. I encounter spirits and stuff like that. So you can say whatever you want about it, but there's tons of people on this earth who see spirits. I know.
No. But your argument was that Israelites didn't preserve bodies.
Well, it's one time,
and that's an example. Unless you could tell me, like, after you said something, you referred or you mentioned
we buried
on the Sabbath, and so after he was wrapped on the Sabbath, they would just throw the body away, or like how did it work?
Oh, they was going to bury. No, all right. So the people who did not believe in him as the Son of the Most High probably would have just buried him, but he said that he was going to rise again from the dead. So on the third day, but usually we just bury our dead. There's one other time where a body was preserved, which was Joseph, the one who ruled in Egypt, who was second under the Pharaoh in Egypt. You can read about him in Genesis. His body was the only body that was preserved and wasn't buried because he was in the Egyptian culture. So that makes sense.
Okay. It doesn't make sense. None of these people existed. There's just no proof.
But wait, one more person. You can look up this guy named Josephus, right? Josephus was a historian, Israelite historian around the time of Christ. Now, he himself states inside his writings that he did not follow Christ and didn't believe him as the son of the Most High. But he does state in his writings that he saw him, and he saw that there was a lot of people attracted to him, that was drawn to him. And this is a historian that you can look up that is well documented as living on this earth, and he talks about the wars that went on between the Israelites and the Romans, and he was a black man. You can look up his article. You can look up the article.
God.
So, I mean, there's tons of proof out there if you go researching for it. If you're not going to go researching for it, and you're going to listen to Christian pastors.
So the Roman guy Josephus was a black man.
He was an Israelite, and he was a historian during the time of Christ. And there was wars going on between the Israelites and the Romans, and he kind of sold out his own people, kind of like this. I know with black people. This I know this like black people. He
No,
sold out his own people.
no, but where was he from originally?
He was from Jerusalem. He was from the nation of Israel, but he sided with the Romans. To seek protection. He blended it. He basically
He was a Roman citizen.
he picked up their culture, and kind of did not, to protect himself during the time when they was having the war.
Okay, he said he blended into Roman culture.
Yeah, because he was born, I guess, as a Roman citizen. Because Rome was ruling at that time.
But he was black when he blended into white Roman culture.
Yeah, kind of like what we do today.
I don't know if he was black. I've seen no evidence that he was black, but he was a contemporary of Jesus.
Reverend Jesse Jackson, you got Al Sharpton, who want to portray themselves as Americans, when they actually of another nation, right? So, and they're dressing like them, talking like them, and if anything ever goes down, what happens? They're not going to side with their black people. They're gonna go with what the white man tell them to do. So he was the same way. He was a sellout brother at that time.
All right, let's pass it to Mufasa. Then we'll pass it to Prince. Yeah, go ahead, Mufasa.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask Elvis, because every single time we come onto this topic, we get these brainwashed people who know Christianity, but they don't know anything about the African religions that they're condemning. So my thing is, if you're going to come on here and tell us the Bible, tell us about the Bible, right? Just say, in the Bible, we feel like everybody who's not doing what we're doing is evil and idol worship and all of that stuff. But don't purport to know because you're from Africa. It doesn't mean anything. Like for instance, I could go to Lagos right now and ask people about the traditions, and they don't know anything. They grew up under brainwashed people like Elvis, telling them, "Oh, it's evil, just don't go, don't do it," and they haven't studied. So you can't refute what you don't know, right? So just stop thinking just because people are from Africa does not mean that they know anything. They're just saying random things, and they can't prove or substantiate anything. He can't even really name the religions. So Elvis, I want to know which African religion or tradition have you studied?
Good question, Shabazz. Are you before I answer your question, are you a Muslim?
No, I'm a traditionalist.
Okay, good. All right. When I came on the show, I exclusively said that I know from what I've seen in my, for example, in my country, in my towns, in my villages, right? When we're talking about this,
so you don't know. You haven't studied one.
That's what I'm saying. We're not scholars of these African traditional religions, but we see the impact on our lives, in our community. We see them. The ritualistic killings.
I'm gonna give it back to you.
Christianity was worse. Stop it.
So Christianity was 100 times worse. But before we even get to Christianity, we have to get to what I'm sticking on. So he just told you he has not studied any African traditional religion. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He said that he had experiences in his village, right? I had experiences in my neighborhood of people being killed, but I'm not going to attribute it to a religion that I don't understand.
Well, were their eyes plucked out and their private parts cut off and taken for traditional medicine?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
no, it matters. If it's gun violence and ritualistic killings are two different things.
I got a question. Sorry, Mufasa. I got a question. So Elvis, go ahead. And I'll pass it back to you, Mufasa. I'm sorry. So Elvis, what was the name of your traditional religion in your village?
There we go.
We don't have a name for we don't have a name for it.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
We don't have a name for it.
Christianity.
Okay.
How many?
Mike Elvis, but so give me the name of like your deities, like in Ifa, like Oduduwa.
Right. We have I would say they, because I'm not a part of that, that traditional religion, but we have a deity called the Nabo Yahweh. Yeah, the Nabo Yahweh is a mountain god, right? That lives on what we call the Putu Mountain in southeastern Liberia in Grangita. He's a mountain god, right? So this is the hub of all the southeastern tribe in Liberia, the Crews, the Bassa, the Crowns, so all the southeastern tribe worship this god that lives in the mountain.
And
so
what's the name of the god again?
Nabo Yahweh.
Nabo Yahweh. So when people
Nabo Yahweh.
Okay, so when people were practicing genital mutilation, they'll do it and offer it to the god of Naboa.
No. My people don't practice genital mutilation. That's for the
Okay,
Photo
okay, but
Society.
no,
That's for the
you're
Sender
saying
Society.
that.
Which
Okay,
people are doing it?
I'm sorry.
What
When
about
people were practicing-
circumcision?
Okay, hold on. No, hold on. When people were practicing human sacrifice, as you said, this human sacrifice, they were practicing human sacrifice. They would take it and offer it to the mountain god. That's what you're saying?
Yes, they will do that.
Okay,
And
then
How
then
do you
you
know
you
this?
will have priests of that god who, if people
How do you
want
know? Who
certain,
told you this? Who told you this?
there's a guy called Joshua Milton Bly, right? He's
Okay.
commonly known as General Butt Naked. He was a chief priest for my tribe during the war, and he got converted to Christ, and he told all the secrets of that priesthood. All right, and our people don't
All right.
deny
So
it.
you go. Okay, but let's move away from
We'll
that one
go on
because
YouTube. Hold
this
on,
is
hold on. Just
basically
go on YouTube. His name is General
okay.
Butt Naked.
Okay.
He has his confessions and his testimony. He's from my tribe. He exposed everything. So you can go out there and
Okay,
research
let's
him,
go to
General Butt
voodoo though,
Naked.
because you threw voodoo under the bus.
I don't know about voodoo. Like
Which
I
do you
said,
think?
we
Well,
don't
then why
practice
did you
voodoo
speak on it though? That's
in
the
my
problem.
village.
See, you spoke on it,
Exactly.
but you should have said that earlier, bro. You didn't say that. You said people coming over to do voodoo, but really this is evil and this is that, and nobody really said anything. But the reality is, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. You can only
Oh,
bring up some mystical thing that we can't challenge because we
you're
don't
saying
know it.
that voodoo
And
is
then you
voodoo
said,
voodoo is good?
I'm saying you
It,
don't know shit
it,
about
let-
voodoo, so keep it out your mouth,
Well,
bro.
everything in
That's
the
what I'm saying.
universe has good
if
and
you're
bad.
saying it's good, that's on you, brother. But I'm
Bro,
telling
But no,
people on
I'm
the
Elvis,
saying
platform,
I can speak on the Orisha
I'm warning
tradition
against
and
these
Ifa.
things because
No,
you
Elvis,
but you
study
can't warn
voodoo.
against what you don't know. Let me
Elvis.
just say this real quick. Okay, so I can't speak on the voodoo. I was hoping that you could, but you don't know it as you just told us. You never studied any of
What's
these
up?
things. You don't know anything about voodoo, right? So I'm reading. Hold
Hold
on, let me
on.
just finish this. Just let me finish this, bro. So
Yeah, go
in the
ahead.
book, right, I have Wande Abibulah's book in front of me. It's called Ifa, a literary corpus, right? If we look in this book right here, so this is the sixth chapter. It's man and the supernatural powers. So the part I wanted to point out right here says the Yoruba conceive the supernatural powers of being of two types, good and evil, right? And then on the next page, I'm not going into any depth here,
Uh,
but the a few of the evil forces is the Ajogun and the Eleye and Enion, right? The witches. So the
Bro,
point I'm
you
trying to
know the
point
difference
out, but
between
hold on, bro. Can I
esoteric
finish
and
my point?
esoteric
Can I
knowledge,
finish
right?
my point, bro? Can I
You
finish
know
my
the
point?
difference
The
between it,
point
right? I
I'm
just want to
bringing
ask you that
out,
question. Do you
the
know
point
that
I'm bringing
difference?
out, the point I'm bringing out, bro. The
They
point
will
I'm bringing
give
out
you a
is that
different information if you're not part
bro.
of the
Can I make my
initiate of
point,
that
bro?
religion. They will pin it to be nice to you
Can I make my
if
point?
you're not a part of
The
it. But
point.
once you get into it, really, you will know what it's really about.
Okay, whatever. Okay, bro. You're not an initiate and you don't know the knowledge, so you can't
That's what
speak
I'm
on
trying to
that.
tell
Number
you.
one.
So
Number two.
if
My
people
point
who are
is
reading about
that,
these nonsense, they
bro.
will
Can I
paint
make
it
my
like
point,
it's
bro?
all rosy. But once you are in there and you're initiated, they give you the true meanings. They give you the true the true source of that religion.
Bro,
So
why
the
don't you
Bible
go
said there's
study so
nothing
you
new
can
under
say
the
it with,
sun.
with
So
certainty?
if you want to practice your religion, that's fine. I'm not
I
here
know
to
you don't want
convert
to let
you.
me get my point. The point I'm
No,
making
go ahead,
is
go ahead. I'll shut
that
up. Go
these
ahead.
people they say that there's evil things happening, but all of us that in the religions itself is telling you that there are evil things out there. It's telling you that there are witches, there's witchcraft, there are people who do these evil things. So what this guy is going to come on here, you, he's going to come on and he's going to tell you that there's evil, there's witchcraft being done, there's things like that being done, and he's going to attribute it to the African religions that we're going to learn about. Just because evil is being done does not mean that it's being done by voodoo priests or voodoo practitioners or
So
Ifa practitioners.
you
That's the
practice
point I'm
voodoo.
trying to make. So
You practice
until you
voodoo?
learn what it is that you're talking about, you can't speak on that. You're just talking. You don't know.
Hey,
You
I'm
can't
only asking you.
attribute
You
it to
practice
any
voodoo,
religion.
right? You practice voodoo?
No, I don't. No. I'm a
Okay.
student of the Orisha tradition or Ifa
Okay.
or Isheshe.
Okay.
Well, hold on,
Yeah.
okay. So Elvis, how has Christianity lifted your community out of poverty? Because I mean, you're here in America.
And that's the thing, Don, is Christianity don't promise you wealth. It don't promise you, social upward mobility. It's a personal relationship with God. It's not a business. It's not a business venture that you're getting into to make money or to become rich. All right. So if you're going to voodoo and thinking the voodoo priest is going to make you rich, he's going to show you money rituals and all of these nonsense, that's fine. Go in there, join a religion if you want to be rich. That's up to you. But we don't become Christian to become millionaires. That's not why we become Christians.
Okay, but no. So how has Christianity benefited your community?
Like I said, each person has a personal relationship with Christ, and we have churches. You know, if it's a real church of God, and the people in that community wants to go out and help the poor, feed the poor, and help uplift the community, that's a good thing, right? But the Bible don't promise you anything in this physical life that you're going to be, this great people that's going to become rulers and multimillionaires and wealthy men. That's not what the Bible promises you. We're living for eternal life. We're not living for the physical. So
Okay,
if you
so
try
but
to judge being a Christian based on what you
Elvis,
can get here in the physical, you're doing it wrong.
so what's the purpose of it? What is the purpose if you can't benefit and grow from it from your religion? What's the purpose of it?
If you're saying spiritually, we benefit from it spiritually, but now the
How?
Bible said,
How?
you're of this world, but don't be, you're in this world, but don't be of this world, right? So
Well,
if you're looking at things through your worldly eye, then go ahead, Donis. I didn't hear you.
Prince Charles. Go ahead, Prince Charles. Go ahead.
Okay.
Shalom Bahashim Yahweh. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good. Shalom Bahashim Yahweh Hakudish Yisrael. This is the Trouble Minister Prince Charles Landine. I'm known throughout social media as the Mighty Hebrew. Y'all might have seen me on SideNet, different places like that. I repatriated back to Africa. I live here in Tanzania, East Africa, along with Dimona, Israel, Northeastern Africa. I represent the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is I see on social media there's a gross misunderstanding of Hebrew Israelite sovereignty. It's like noise in the background. Okay.
I had to remove you.
There's a gross misunderstanding of Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalistic paradigm. Most people that talk about the Hebrew Israelites are based on the One West Israelites that was developed in Harlem, New York in 1969. Many people don't know that there were Israelite communities in the United States since 1792. Now, I'm an anthropologist. I'm the founder of Hebrew Cosmogenesis and Hebrew Anthropogenesis. My grandfather was the late Prince Asiel ben Israel, who just died. He was one of the three founders of our community that's in Dimona, Israel, with the late Ben Ami and the late Prince Dr. Shaliach ben Yahuda. We're Hebrew Israelites that do not separate our African paradigm from the Hebraic way of thought. When you go into East Africa and West Africa as an anthropologist, my objective was to research the scattered Israelite tribes amongst the Bantu. We teach that the Bantu tribes are, in fact, the original Israelites. I have traced over 26. Hello?
That's your connection, bro. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, somebody was trying to reach out to me on this. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Let me.
Yeah, that's that Hebrew.
Was
connection.
that guy wearing a costume?
Go ahead, Miriam.
Okay, hi to everyone on the panel. I had a question. One thing that I could never figure out, I noticed no one's talking about Kemet. I was wondering what's that and how does everyone feel about that? And then also like the voodoo deities, do they match up with the Ifa deities? Like Shango is equivalent to,
Some of them are shared, but go ahead. Yes.
No. Is there a place where someone can learn about, to connect those two?
So some of the deities are shared, but when you say connected to, what do you mean?
Like the Ifa deities with the voodoo deities, but I guess they're not all shared.
It's a separate religion. I mean, some of the deities are the same, but it's a separate religion. So when you say connected, what do you mean? when you say
Oh,
connect
okay.
to
I
voodoo.
didn't know they were separate religion.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Ifa and voodoo is separate religion, but they do have some similar deities. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay,
Okay.
that's yeah. And I have to say that I converted to Judaism, but I was really sincerely wanting like a real African something, and I suspect, I could be wrong. I'm not a scholar, but I suspect that a lot of the things that we did have now is considered white, quote unquote. And if we do them, then it's, there's this like mental block that if we do them, then it's considered we're acting white, such as studying, like being a scholar about something. Like even once upon a time, marriage, I think, was considered, out of bounds, or so, I don't know. But I just wanted to add that.
All right, June, go ahead, June. Oh, Mary, somebody was asking, how did you convert to Judaism?
Um, well, first I went to the Hebrew Israelites. I didn't know anything. Okay, I went to the Hebrew Israelites, and then they gave me these two really good books. They gave me To Pray as a Jew and Timbuktu, Babylon to Timbuktu. Okay, and I was reading those books, but a lot of the things I read they weren't doing. So I went to one of the guys there, and I said, I don't understand that, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And he said, oh, that's because we're not Jews. I said, what? So then he drove me to a Jewish neighborhood, and we met this rabbi, and I just asked, could I be Jewish? He said no. I asked again, I asked another one, I asked different ones, and finally I found one who said okay. And 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 then they gave me a whole stack of books to study, and then I had to take a test, and that's it.
Just to tell you, sister, Jesus fulfilled the law. So if you're in Christ, you don't have to follow those dietary laws and all
Jesus
those
never.
funny laws that you have
That's
to
a
follow
lie.
in Judaism.
That's a
I
lie.
used to be Christian.
That's what Christianity teach. She said she's an Israelite.
She says she's following. She's a converted Jew, or she converted to Judaism. That's a
Listen,
religion.
Let me give one point
got,
that
got
Miriam.
Well, hold on. Let me pass it to June because June's been waiting. Go ahead, June.
Hello, everyone. Greeting and peace to everyone. So I've been listening in to everything, and I respect everyone's opinion. I think we're too busy trying to, I have to say this, demonize each other, which actually happened to our belief system. We're demonizing each other, and we're using the same psychological mechanism. There's a little bit of truth in everything. If you are having at least that wisdom, there's a little bit of truth in everything. There's truth in African spirituality. There's actually truth in Christianity. There's truth in Islam. There's truth in everything. It's just what has happened is the issue with that information. Um, our people, I do believe, is the source of all this information when it comes to African spirituality. Christianity came out of it. Islam came out of it. Judaism that we know of came out of it. And it does go back to the ancient systems from what we know as Egypt or Nubia. Um, and a lot of Yoruba, also Ashanti traditions are connected back to ancient Egypt. And also, you can connect it back to also some of the Israelites tradition. Someone was mentioning about sacrifice and that whole system. I know Christians have their own belief about Jesus being the last sacrifice and all of that, but that's still a sacrifice system because Jesus sacrificed himself, his flesh, for everyone to be saved, supposedly, from their sins, right? So there's a lot of just craziness with that ideological thinking because sacrifice is in all religious systems. I don't care where it comes from. So I really don't think that's a strong argument for Christians to keep because you do have a sacrifice system. It's just that you don't practice it anymore, but you still believe Christ is that sacrifice. So that's just a point that I wanted to bring out. To go back to what the Old Testament said in the Bible, you see in that Old Testament, there are all kinds of sacrifices going on. They were sacrificing lambs, chickens, cows, all kinds of stuff, depending on the holy days, right? So there's a lot of information that we need to really dig into and research. I am not a scholar. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know everything. I'm learning. I'm trying to understand this whole thing. But I do want the truth, and I want the truth of our people and what we used to practice. And I don't claim any religion. I am agnostic. I just believe there is a source of life that we all come from. And I think if we can come to that understanding about we do come from a greater source that we're all part of, I think we can become having like more understanding where all these different religious systems and practices come from. So I'm just putting that out there because we're complicating things more than we need to and causing more division than necessary. Because it really isn't that. I mean, there's it's complexity in everything, but when it comes to understanding the origin of everything, it we need to realize that we are the origin of everything. This melanated being that we have manifest in this physical realm, we are the origin of everything. We come from the source. And I think that's what we need to get to, knowing where we come from. Truly, we come from the source. That means the source of all creation, the universe. You even look into scientific documentations about this, how we're genetically made. Our melanin itself, right, has codes in it, and also it has certain protection mechanisms, and also it empowers us to do other things that other groups of people can't do. Does that make us better than anyone? No, but it does say something about us and our history and who we really are. So I I'm I feel so bad that we're so disconnected from our source and who we are and what slavery did in that process. And just to give a little more background too, my husband is a Yoruba man, and we talk about these things all the time. He's very, I'm not saying he's a scholar, but he definitely does research. He looks into these things, and he's quite connected to the traditional religion, especially of Ifa and Yoruba traditions. And we talk about this all the time because at first, when we were first talking and stuff before we were married, we used to have all these type of philosophical conversations about religion and Christianity and Judaism and all of that. And I was going to the directions of possibly looking into the Hebrew Israelites at one time, because there is some historical facts to some of the things they say about them coming from the east and going into more of the western regions of Africa and things like that, and also the southern regions of Africa. There was that connection with the Bantu expansion. So there's some historical things you could, if you are interested, to look into that part about that whole thing about the migration and what took place and how our people came from the east and expanded more into the west. But there are conversion ideas against that. Some people think we were always in West Africa. We were never from any other area. But for the most part, it's consensus what I'm seeing with historical documents that I have looked over and the information I've discussed with others, that we did come from the east, migrating into the west. So that's an interesting thing just to put out there, because we know so a lot of stuff in the Bible is centered in northeastern Africa. And also the cradle of civilization, if you go back to history, is also centered in that region. So we need to look more deeper into that and that understanding of that. That's just my recommendation. I'm not sitting up here trying to preach to anyone what to believe. It's an internal thing that you need to search for yourself. But I do want our people to come to a consistency that we are a spiritual people. We do come from a source that's greater than us, that we are a part of. And I would say, even in the Bible, it talks about ye are gods. You are all gods. What does
Children
that
of
mean?
gods. Children of
Children.
God.
No, it says there's a verse, and I will look it up, that talks about that you are gods. Now, I don't want to fight on that. Like I said, you need to do your own Bible, study on that. I don't have the verse, but I will look it up and I'll provide that in the
What are
chat.
you? Are you a Hebrew Israelite, a
I
Christian,
do not
or
have a religion. I'm agnostic. I don't have
okay?
no religion
All right.
because I'm
All
searching
right,
for.
guys, let's do everyone who's watched. Quick commercial break. Listen, there's over 400 people watching. Okay, I am humbly asking. Shout out to Elvis. Me and Elvis don't agree on everything, but Elvis said he bought 3 copies of the stream. Okay, if you are watching this and if you have not bought the documentary, okay, all I'm asking is go to searchforuhuru.com, go to searchforuhuru.com, and please buy the documentary. Again, go to searchforuhuru.com and please buy the documentary. Okay, that's all I'm asking. If you are watching this right now, Okay, if you're watching this right now, and if you have not bought the documentary, please go to searchforuhuru.com. And this is part of my life's work. Please buy the documentary, $10.99. Again, the reviews have been great. People have said, Dynas, it has inspired me to travel to Africa. It's inspired me to put out similar works like you're doing. So buy the documentary. I hear, a lot of people, y'all be, we call it Negro stalling tactics. Yeah, I'm gonna get you, dog. I'm gonna get you, dog. I got you, man. No, go to searchforuhuru.com right now. Again, go to searchforuhuru.com right now, and please buy the documentary. It's streamed. So all you do once you buy it, you create a login, password, and you can access it wherever you go. Wherever you go, you can access it. So there's over 400 people in here watching the stream. If you have not, but I'm serious, it's called Negro Stalling. I got you, dog. I'm gonna get it, man. I got you, dog. Go to searchforuhuru.com right now, and please buy the documentary. Again, please buy the documentary, guys. Buy the documentary. Oh, and there's a contest. So when we get in the next 3 weeks, so the contest started this past Sunday. So the next 3 weeks, contest ends on the 27th. We get 3,000 people to buy the documentary, purchase 3,000 streams. Okay, and this is yours. What you buy is yours. It's not a rental. It's yours. Again, it is yours. You get 3,000. We get 3,000 purchases in the next 3 weeks. 3,000 streams in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to do a drawing on the 28th. So the contest ends on the 27th. I'm going to do a drawing on the 28th. Okay. The drawing is for one lucky person will win a trip on one of our tours. Again, one lucky person will win a trip on one of our tours. So please go and buy the documentary, family. I will greatly appreciate it. And then we got shout out to Alexis. Thank you. Thanks to that sister for the support.
Hey,
Bam.
you guys, it is your girl Alexis Fowler coming to you with a special sale of 40% off all of my services when you use promo code VIP40 at alexisfowler.com. As a brand designer and consultant, I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company and you need help with branding and graphic design, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity with 40% off using promo code VIP40 to get 40% off on all my services at alexisfowler.com.
So again, go buy the documentary, guys. Please support. All right, let's get back to the topic. Let me bring Prince back on here. Hold on one second. Prince, go ahead. You got to unmute yourself, Prince.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead. You got that Hebrew Wi-Fi. Okay. But we're gonna work through it. Go ahead.
I'm in East Africa, so the reception is messed up. I have an iPhone. Giving all praise and honor to Yahweh. So what I wanted to express is most platforms that I see on social media that speak about Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalism is from the perspective of what they see with the One West camp starting with what is known as ISUBK. There are older Hebrew schools from out of the Americas starting at 1798. Trickling down to the 21st century. The school of thought that I come under is by the name of the late Ben Ami, my grandfather, Prince Asiel, who all can trace back to a man by the name of William S. Crawley that go back to 1847. Now I'm here on the ground in Africa. One of the things that I developed is something called Hebrew anthropogenesis. And the objective of my research was to study the Bantu Hebrew expansion. I done been in Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Benin, all over Africa, and there are indigenous Hebrew tribes in Africa. We can use some primary sources such as Dr. Yosef A. Ben Yokanai in his book, African Origins of the Major Western Religions. If you go on page 75 and 76, you'll clearly see that Dr. Yosef A. Ben talks about just before Christianity's legal entry into the set-apart land or the Holy Land, there was a war known as the Saracen War, which was 115 ACE, that pushed many Israelites further south into the heart of Africa. Also, I would like to read something here from Sheikh Anta Diop. Everybody that is a scholar should know of this man. He wrote a book called Pre-Colonial Black Africa. And what he does is he uses an eyewitness, which is Tariq El-Fatah. And he says in Pre-Colonial Black Africa on page 233, it says, according to Tariq El-Fatah, an Israelite minority also lived in the bent of the Niger region of Tudorma and had made a speciality of cultivating vegetables watered with fresh well water instead of river water. So thus far, we got Dr. Yosef A. Ben Yokanaya in African Origins of the Major Western Religions, page 75, 76, clearly saying that the Israelites were indigenous African people from northeastern Africa, falsely called the Middle East. They pushed into what we know as West Africa, amalgamated with traditional Africans that were there and got caught up in the transatlantic slave trade. Also, I would like to use Dr. John Henrik Clarke, because the reason why I don't want to just use Hebrew Israelite scholars, then somebody can say, well, they're Israelite scholars, so naturally they're going to agree with you. So what I'm doing is using the most top-notch Afrocentric scholars that we have known on the planet. Dr. John Henrik Clarke says in an introduction to Alfred J. Butler's book, The Arab Conquest of Egypt and the Last 30 Years of the Roman Dominion, he says Roman exploitation, taxation, and ruthlessness caused a lot of the original Africans in North Africa to move further into the body of Africa. The question is also often asked, what happened to North Africa's Black population? This is part of the answer. Also, I got his book right here, Notes for African World Revolution, Africans at the Crossroads, on page 276. He says, there is a need now to study the migration of the Israelites after 70 AD, when the Romans destroyed their temples and started the dispersal of the Israelites of that day. Where indeed did they go? There is some evidence that some of them migrated south into the body of Africa. So we got Sheikh Anta Diop, we got Dr. John Henrik Clarke, we got Dr. Yosef A. Ben Yokanai. I didn't even get into Obanga. I didn't even get into Ashaka Musa Bear Shingle. I didn't even get into Professor James Smalls, where he did a PowerPoint presentation showing the African presence of the Israelites. Here's some pictures of the Israelites right here, carved in stone in Nineveh. These are African people. The Israelites were African.
Can I ask you a question, brother?
Sure you can, yes.
All right, so you Israelites believe in the Bible, right?
Well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationalist. I don't believe in the King James Bible. I deal with strictly the Hebrew Tanakh. That's what I'm saying. You have different understandings and persuasion of Hebrew Israelite thought and paradigm. We here as Hebrew Israelite sovereign nationals, we teach we are the Elohim, the gods of the earth with a 311 trillion. No, I'm Torah only. No.
So what did the Torah say?
But let me so you'll know. But I do acknowledge that Moreh Yeshua Bar Yosef was a historical man. He was a historical man, but I don't acknowledge that he was the son of the Most High or the Messiah. None of that. No.
Okay, that's good. What is the Tanakh? The Torah says about the identity of the quote unquote Israelites. You know, how would you know them?
Oh, that's a great example. That's a great question. When you go into the 50th chapter of the book of Bereshit, falsely called the book of Genesis, it gives a description of the Israelites. If you look at when Yaakov, now known as Jacob, when he passed, and there was a funeral that took place, and when they had the funeral in Canaan, you see the indigenous Canaanite people say about the Israelites, because they had on Kemetic or Egyptian attire, they identified them as Egyptians. Then when you go into the second book of Shemot, miscalled the book of Exodus, you see that Moshe called Moses is identified as an Egyptian. When you go into the book of Amos, you see that the children of Israel are compared to the Cushites. When you look at the genealogy, you clearly see that Abraham from the land of Ur, not from Mesopotamia, but the Indus Valley. That's a different story, a different topic. His grandfather was Nimrod, who in fact built the city of Babylon in Sumer or Shinar, which is now known as Iraq. These were African people. The Israelites are in fact Africans. The Europeans that call themselves Jews today are converts of 740 AD during the time of Bulan, the king of the Khazarian Empire. When the children of Amalek or the Amalekites went into Europe, they converted these people into what now is called Judaism. When you go into the book of Ezekiel, the 50th chapter, the southern kingdom of Yehuda or Judah went into captivity along with the Edomites. While they was in Babylon, they developed a system known as the Babylonian Talmud, which later on became known as the Jerusalem Talmud and the Gargama and the Mishnah and all these things.
Okay. One more question, brother. You know, I read the Bible, and you know, I used to read up on these Hebrew Israelites. Now, my understanding is that the Bible says that if the children of God hearken unto him and, you know, obey his commandments, I think as you're doing now, one of the part of the covenant that God made with the children of Israel is that they will be the head and not the tail. Do you think that you Hebrew Israelites who have turned back to God are now the head and not the tail? Because that was one of the marks that you could tell that the Israelites by, that they will be the head of man and not the tail. They will be at the top and not at the bottom. So
that's a good question. That's a good question you posed. You're talking about Debardium, miscalled Deuteronomy chapter 28, dealing with the curses from 15 to 68. As a collective body politic, we are still under them curses, but as individualistic groups like the community that I come from out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the southwest side of Chicago, we left from the confines of America and went to a place in Israel known as Dimona, Israel, where there's thousands of us. We known as the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. We irrigate our own land. We grow our own food. We manufacture our own clothes. We give birth to our own children. This is a known historical fact. Anybody that you can go online. Remember when Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, my grandfather is the one that brought them over there to visit our community. So many people have went over there. But what we need to focus on, what is the uproar about this movie From Hebrews to Negroes? Shout out to Ron Dalton, a close friend of mine. When you look at the movie From Hebrews to Negroes, it's nothing quote unquote anti-Semitic about it. And furthermore, they're using that term wrong. The term anti-Semitic came in 1871. The true Shemitic people are the descendants of Shem. The Greeks in their language, they didn't have an SH sound, so they said Sem. So the true Shemitic people are the so-called Negroes in the wilderness of North America, South America, Central America, and all over the earth. The Hebrew Israelite way of life is not a religion. It is not a religion. It is a culture and a heritage that has become amalgamated within religion. This is why when you have these different sects, that's where the religiosity comes. But if you understand the Torah for what it is the constitution of the nation of Israel, and Israel as a nation is a body politic. One more thing, and I'm done. The word Jew is a misnomer. There's no J in the Hebrew language. There's no J. So it should either be Yehowadah or Yehuda, Judah. So the only true Judites are from the tribe of Judah. The people that are calling themselves Jews, they are the converts. They are the ones that created a religion called Judaism, which is a misinterpretation and a European interpretation of Hebrew Israelite culture. Just like they took Kemet and they gave Champollion, James Henry Bresset, all of them that wanted to Europeanize ancient Kemet. This is the same thing they did with the Israelite culture. Told you that the
one last thing, brother. One last thing.
We gotta pass the mic. We gotta pass the mic. Q Butter, go ahead, Q Butter. Q Butter, unmute yourself.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, brother. And I will get your documentary. Thank you.
Please do. Can you buy it now?
Yes.
Can you buy it right now?
Yo, Diana, what's good, brother?
Can you buy it right
Yeah,
now?
I got my wife. Listen, I got my wife get it right now. No problem.
Because listen, y'all be giving me the I'm gonna get it, bro. I'm gonna get it, bro. I'm gonna get it, bro. I got you, brother.
I know the feeling.
I got it.
I know the
You know what I'm
feeling.
saying? I've been doing this for years now, bringing value to everybody, inspiring people to go to Africa. But you know, getting people to buy my documentary is, oh man, I'm gonna get you, bro. I got you, bro. You know, but shout out to Elvis.
I'm pretty
Listen, me and
sure.
Elvis
I'm pretty sure you heard of me before, correct? The Mighty Hebrew.
I haven't, because I'm not really in that space like that. Like I go now in Atlanta. Now listen, in Atlanta they got the soul vegetarian.
That's my grandfather's spot. The soul vegetarian.
Right, so
that's hard.
I go to Hebrew Bakes, and you know Hebrew Bakes. They got the fire dessert, the cupcake. So I go there.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. I will have my wife order that. Thank you.
Okay, please do. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Q Butter.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, brother. Q Butter. I got a bone to pick with you too, Q Butter. Go ahead. Let me shut up, Q Butter.
Yo, Dinas, what up, beloved?
Yeah, man. I mean, what's this? I mean, I ain't gonna. Nah, this documentary is fire. Q Butter, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
My bad. I had to walk through the classroom. I had mad kids behind me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just bought the documentary. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was Negro spiritualizing my purchase for a little while. Like I'm gonna get it next week.
Why?
It just happens, bro. I bought it though. I just bought it. I'm gonna have my students do a report on it. My students gonna do a little assignment on that.
Man, I appreciate it, man. But why? I just gotta know why. So I can understand the mind of a Negro sometimes. When you say Negro spiritualized, what does that mean?
Cause you know we be putting stuff off to the last minute sometimes. You know, it's like, all right, I'm gonna get these sneakers. No, I'm gonna buy this. Some of that. Like, hold up. You know what? That's why you had to put it like that. Sometimes you gotta guilt trip some of us Negroes into doing stuff. The pastors do it all the time. The pastors know how to do it. We only want to guilt. Umar be guilt tripping people with donations. You know what I'm saying? Like you hit people.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like with me, I at least want to offer a product or service versus just saying, give me money and guilt trip. Like I would rather say, listen, I got something for y'all tangible, is worth $10.99. You know, like I ain't just begging, just, you know, hey, send me some money. I got products and services. Buy a product or buy a service. You know, why? But why do I got to get the Negro stalling tactic when I'm saying just buy my documentary?
It's just the way people move and stuff, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I whether or not, like I'm gonna watch it and stuff, but I support what you're doing, and I think people just need to recognize, like it's like people in the community. Like I buy products from like local like vendors and stuff because you know they'll sell black posters, they'll sell black literature. It's like we got to keep the movement alive. And so like, how many other people you see promoting connecting black people from America to different nations in Africa? Like that's really dope. So you know, like whatever you selling, people support it.
Yeah, so everyone, make sure you buy the documentary. Again, go to search for Uhuru. Dinas, when you come out with your streaming, I'm paying for it. Okay. Guys, when you listen, y'all been telling me I'm gonna buy it on payday for the past month. Y'all been telling me you're gonna spend a $10.99 on payday for the past month. Go to searchforuhuru.com, buy the documentary, family. There's over 400 people in here watching. All right. Yeah. Listen, you're getting something in exchange. Like this is no give to the building fund. You know, and even there was a building fund. I'm like, look, buy the documentary so it could go towards the building fund. So guys, go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Okay. Go to searchforuhuru.com, click on the link and buy the documentary, family. All right, Q Butter, go ahead, bro.
Nah, it was a dope conversation. Shout out to all my Hebrews and stuff, man. But I ain't gonna lie, bro, like the Bible thumping ideologies in our community is crazy. And it's even harder. Like I got a lot of friends from the continent that's in real life. And like I have one brother, I'm about to teach my class social justice, and we're discussing Portugal's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade. And it's crazy to hear, like we know Black Americans been, you know, uprooted mentally, but we didn't know to see how deep, you know, Christianity runs in my brothers on the continent. It's really crazy to me. You know what I mean? For you to have this conversation, like us Black Americans, you know, all this other stuff. When I meet somebody from Nigeria who's arguing about being a Christian to me, or somebody like that is like I don't even know how to respond half the times. I'm so lost that, like, bro, you're from the continent. Like, what the fuck happened? Excuse my language, but, and I know what happened, but it's just, it really is sad. And I know some of our people, when I hear them arguing for, and it's like, no, put this down. Like, the political pressure that was put on our people to become Christian, to avoid all the different y'all know the history. Dynasty, it makes me feel like people don't know the history. Like, people like everybody knows it, but obviously I don't see how you can know the history of how tribes were introduced to Christianity, the political pressures that was put on our people to become Christians, the evangelical policies that was pushed, what they did to natives and Africans, and you still just erase all of that history and say, I believe in Jesus. Like, whatever, Jesus is the way. It's I'm not no disrespect. It's mind-boggling.
No, but that's my point too, Q Butter. How can you throw all this away for a foreign religion that was introduced to you, and not really just introduced to you, forced on you? That's the point I don't get either. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's. And I can get Black Americans, I can get Caribbean people, not to separate it, but I don't. There's much more I got to learn about our community. Black Americans,
there were a lot of missionaries that came without the sword. They came with the book. So a lot of people got converted through missionaries. Everybody wasn't converted to colonization.
But
man, that was
the people who set the foundation for those missionaries to come in came in with the sword. So by that time, the natives were already physically,
but Jesus didn't make them do it. So if somebody perverts the Bible for their own will,
Jesus didn't make anybody do anything, because Jesus is not real. The people who spread the gospel, the people who spread what you currently believe in right now, had an ulterior motive. That's why they brought in a white god.
The heart of man is desperately wicked. So you can't blame Jesus Christ for somebody perverting the book of God.
No, but I'm saying that's why they brought in a white god, and that's why till now most Africans are still worshiping a white Jesus.
Well, people who truly believe in the Bible know it's an abomination to have a picture of God or even a picture of Christ.
Elvis, when you go to your Liberian churches, don't you see the white God right there?
No, we don't. Real churches don't have pictures of Christ.
Okay, but I'm talking about your churches in Liberia. I'm not talking about any imaginary.
Man, come on, stop. 99.99% of those churches in Africa got a big ass picture of white Jesus right there.
Big picture.
And if they know that Bible, it's an abomination to do such a thing.
Not only that, but those churches are still being run by Catholic churches from abroad.
I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Protestant.
Catholic.
Well, hold on. Let the brother Q Butter. For Q Butter, you finish? Go ahead, Q Butter.
Nah, you can go ahead. I'm listening back because I'm about to tell my students about this conversation.
Well, yeah. Tell me why till this day Africans are still getting African Catholics and Christians are still getting their orders from old ass geriatric white men from Italy. You have these European missionaries that till this day still come to the African continent and are still spreading their bullshit with help from people like
there are those of us who are protesting against the Catholic Church,
can
right?
I finish, bro? I just came on the show, bro. You've been talking for like an hour. With help from people like Elvis. And then people like Elvis are the ones bashing traditional religions. The only reason he can do that is because we're not doing enough to spread our own traditional religious beliefs. We don't have paper books like the Bible does. We rely on word to mouth. We don't have big missionary schools like the people who spread Christianity and whatnot. I'm talking Alex.
Okay, Alex. Okay,
but that's the reason why people like Elvis have the room to disrespect our beliefs on the African continent without much pushback. Could he do that to African Muslims? No, he can't do that to African Muslims because they would probably beat his ass on the spot. So he can only do that to African people who have their own spiritual beliefs because he doesn't get as much pushback.
Where are you from, Alex?
I'm from Cameroon.
Okay. And you're initiated into your African traditional beliefs in Cameroon, or?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hey, bro, I don't have a problem with whatever you believe in. I can espouse my beliefs and tell you why I believe it and tell you why I think your belief is wrong, and you
Yeah,
can
but
do
but
vice
but
versa.
but
You know.
Elvis, you're trying to dodge the fact that the what you believe in Liberia is still being controlled by European institutions.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking about the Catholic Church, and I'm trying to tell you there are two
No,
different
I'm also
sects of
talking about the
Christian.
Christian churches because the Christian churches still have that white Jesus, are still praying to those white figures of whoever they consider their
But
saints.
The Bible is antithetical
I'm not
to.
talking about what the Bible is saying. I'm
No,
talking about
that's what we are.
the
We're
in
Bible believing
person
Christians.
Christians.
We're
When you
not
go to
man
these
believing
churches and
Christians.
on the African continent, you're met by European worship. You know, that's what's mostly going on in those churches, and the missionaries that are still coming from Europe. Like it's not some thing that was happening only during colonial times. It's still happening till now, where the current president of Kenya, who just won his seat, he got visits from a whole bunch of white American churches or like pastors and stuff. I'm like, why are you meeting up with these people? What are they telling you that's important to the point where they have the president's ear?
So your African traditional beliefs is anti-white.
What'd you say?
I say your African traditional beliefs are anti-white. They hate white people and they,
No, it has nothing to do with anti-white. My spiritual beliefs have nothing. And I'm not even saying you have to be anti-white. I'm saying the form of Christianity that's in Africa is surrounded with white worship and European brainwashing, which is 100% correct.
whatever you say, brother. Again, there are different kinds of people who
At
claim to be Christians and those who are truly Christian.
At the end of the day, though, a lot of these Abrahamic religions are not really helping Africa at all. You see, African Muslims, what are they focused on? They're focused on what's happening.
Muslim are not Abrahamic.
They're focusing on what's happening in the Middle East. They're focused on what's happening in Palestine. They give their money to go to Hajj in the Middle East or wherever they consider the home of Islam to be. These African Christians, they're spreading European brainwashing, and they're looking again to the Middle East for solutions to their problems. And then you have the new people on the block, the Israelites, who also are looking towards the Middle East for their problems to be solved, to the point where a lot of them are moving to a state, that it doesn't even want them, but it's just tolerating them. So
what has Christianity ever done against you, brother?
It's brainwashed a lot of my people.
And how does that affect you negatively?
It's affecting us negatively because we're
personally.
Me? What do you mean?
Has Christianity affected you negatively?
It's affecting me negatively because there's a lot of Africans on the continent.
No, I'm not talking about
Africans.
I'm talking about
you.
You
Coons because of Christianity. How are coons in Africa not affecting the regular African person?
No, you
as an African, I'm being
speak from your
affected by
personal
that shit.
experience. Give me examples of.
I'm being affected by brainwashed people who want to go against my belief to the point of demonizing me. So,
So you don't want your belief. You don't want your belief to be scrutinized. That's what you're saying. You don't want your belief to be scrutinized.
I don't want it to be demonized, but yes, why would I want my belief
No,
to be demonized?
it's backwards because Elvis, why would you demonize your own traditional religion? That's no other people do this except for African people.
Look at China. Look, they're still Buddhists.
Look at China. Look at Japan. Look at
India.
China. Look at
India,
China. Look at
Hindu.
Japan. Look at India.
Look at
all
Japan.
these
Look
other
at South
countries.
Korea.
Hold on, Alex. Hold on, Alex. Hold on, Alex. All these other people, all these other China, India, Japan, Africa is the only place on the planet where folks demonize their own spirituality. It's just weird as hell. Straight to you. Go ahead.
South Korea just had this tragedy during Halloween where a bunch of people died.
Alex, I passed the mic. Straight to you.
Oh, my bad.
Hello to everyone. Thank you for having me, Dinos.
Straight to you. Have you bought the documentary yet?
Not yet. I will. I
Okay,
promise.
what are you waiting on? Straight to you. What are you waiting on?
Let me go buy it. Like after I finish talking, I'm gonna buy it
Yeah, I'm
because
pushing everybody has to buy the documentary. Hold
Dynasty,
on,
you
in fact, we're
you
gonna do.
strong
Hold
arming
on one
people,
second.
man.
Hold on. I know Elvis is good. Me, Elvis good. Abraham to Hebrew. Have you bought the documentary yet? Abraham to Hebrew.
I'm working right now.
so
I'm working right now.
But you working, but you're on a live. But you're on a live stream.
Yeah, you can still use that card on Google Pay, bro.
Yeah, man. But you on a live stream, Abraham. What you mean? You on the live stream?
I gotta go online. Gotta go on the internet. I gotta type it all in. And stuff. I
Oh,
gotta
boy,
pull out the card.
I slipped up. I slipped. Yeah, I apologize for using the N word. I slipped up. Okay.
Is that Herschel Walker fan right there?
You on the internet right now? Keep it simple. Have you bought the documentary?
Yeah, cause I gotta pull out my card and everything. Hold on.
Keep it simple. Have you bought the documentary?
No, not about the documentary, Dinos.
Okay, when you buying a documentary?
You got to make a paywall, Donis. You can't be on the platform until you buy the documentary.
Keep it simple. When you buying a documentary?
I actually bought a children's book from you a few years back.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'll buy
Jenny,
the documentary though. Definitely buy the documentary.
thank you. Jenny.
Yes,
Have you bought the documentary?
I would gladly support you any day. I'm right on the page right now. I'm gonna buy it right now. It's Alero Neburago. You're gonna see the name there now. I'm right on that
Thank
page.
you so much. June.
Take care.
June. In fact, June. I don't think June has even spoke yet. June, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I will buy that documentary. I'm buying it tomorrow. That's when I'm going to be able to buy it. But I have supported you through Super Chat many of times.
Okay.
I always support you.
Okay. Alex B. Have you bought the documentary?
I'm about to buy it today.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Q Butter, we good. You said you're gonna buy it. Q Butter, have you bought it yet? Q Butter. Okay, you're not there. Straight to you. Go ahead. Straight to you. Floor is yours. Go
So
ahead.
Dennis, where do I click? I'm on the page. Where do I click?
Okay. So you on searchforruler.com?
Yes.
You see the link at top that says click on this link to buy the documentary? This
Oh,
purchase
okay.
documentary. You see it?
Got it. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna click on it. I'm buying it right now, but I'm gonna
Thank you so much. Thank you.
while I'm buying. No problem. It's just laziness. So I'm from Africa also. I'm from Cameroon. And I understand what Elvis is saying. We get scared. We don't even understand what African spirituality is, to be honest with you guys. I have learned so much just by listening to you guys over here than what I learned when I was in Africa. We don't get taught much. We always get scared about witchcraft or all these things like the uncle in the village. If something happens to you, they're gonna say it's your uncle in the village that have given you up for some money ritual, crazy stuff happening. So we get scared away from that African spirituality and then led to the church for Christianity. That's exactly how what is happening on the continent. And I would tell you guys here, it hasn't helped us a bit. It has become the new African spirituality in Africa, where Christianity itself is dividing everybody over there. Like you have a family, each person is in a different church, and they don't get along unless you are in the same church with these people, that they look at you as family, as friends, as like brothers and sisters or whatever. So we are turning against each other with religion right now. So it's awful. Christianity is not doing nothing to anyone in Africa. It's brainwashing us. It's causing us to become very like submissive and docile, and then just like do everything for the pastor. So what Elvis is saying, I don't know how it's helping him, but honest with you, look at Africa and look at what's going on the ground. These people are not Christian. They're just faking to be Christian. They don't even understand what that means, to be honest with you. They don't understand where they're coming from or where they're going. We are just lost on the biggest scale, to be honest with you. So really, it's not working. I wish we can go back to that traditional and trying to understand. And even if there's improvement to be done, we can do it. We're not just going to run away from who we are to something that we don't even really know or really understand. I think we can take what we had and clean it up. I don't know, like adjust it so that it can fit our needs. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Okay,
And
appreciate it.
for those of you who are traditionalists on this panel, what benefits do you get from being an African traditionalist?
To be true to yourself. I feel authentic. It makes me feel proud. It gives me a sense of who I am. And with that, I'm ready to challenge anything.
Thank you. We don't think we're European people. We don't think we don't see ourselves as worshippers of European gods, of foreign people.
Christianity is not even European at all, brother. It's Middle Eastern.
Whatever it is, the adoration of Christianity that came to your country and other people is European, whatever you want to call it.
History.
But a quick question straight to you. Which part of Cameroon are you from? Because I think it depends on where your ethnic group in Cameroon. Because Grassfield people are still very spiritual. We're still very attached to our spirituality. So me growing up in Bamenda,
I'm Bamileke, 100%.
Oh, you're Bamileke? Okay, I'm half Bamileke, so you understand what I'm saying.
Listen, let me tell you something. Before, Bamileke were the people that were still really attached. Like our kingdom are so intact over there. But guess what? That thing is seeping in. In my own family, my little sister, when I went home in 2017, she's in this church. My mom has something in the village, like a ceremony. She doesn't attend because the pastor did not do that. It's evil. She should not go there. My little brother, same thing. So it's crawling in. And that's why we have to stop it right now.
So what do you think is convincing African people to convert to Christianity? If it's so bad, if it's not good for them, what do you think is convincing them to convert?
Societal pressure.
That hope that it gives you. It doesn't even give you accountability. Before, when we were traditional, right? Let me tell you guys here. When we were traditional, people used to be like really trying to be honest and do the right thing, because they knew that if they didn't, those things that were promised to come against them will come. They believe in those African spirituality, and they will do their best to kind of stay upright. Now with Christianity, they know they can do anything, and on Sunday they will go pray to God, ask for forgiveness. They will swear on the Bible and lie, but they will never swear to the traditional doctors, priests, and eat the whatever, I don't know how you call it. They will tell you to come and swear. They will never do it. They will run away. Christianity is an escape for Africans in Africa.
You know the funny thing too is these African Christians or Muslims or whatever you call it, like straight to you said, they'll go to that religion and they're still doing things that are similar in African spirituality. You will have these Christian pastors who are making prophecies and they're doing this for you. They have this holy water that's supposed to heal you and whatnot, and it's crazy that they can't see the parallels with what they're trying to run away from. Not only that, but I think it was Elvis who mentioned sacrifice or body trafficking or whatever he was trying to mention. There were pastors in Nigeria recently who were just caught with bodies and body parts, and they're Christians. So
no, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. How can you say they're not?
They're Christian in name, but if you're not
okay, this is the thing that you guys do to run away from Christian people who do the things that you.
If you know what it means to be a Christian, you know when somebody is not being a good Christian.
Alex, but this is where Elvis and a number of Christians and even Muslims are disingenuous. See, everything that is bad when it comes to so-called African spirituality in quotation marks, they have no problem attaching that to African spirituality. Like, this is what they do. It's a definite. But when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to Islam, when you call out those who are in the wrong, all of a sudden they're not real Christians. They're not.
Yeah, he wasn't a real Christian. He wasn't a real Muslim.
So the people who were practicing human sacrifice, were those real practitioners of your indigenous religion?
Yes, because it was a requirement in the religion to get certain powers to appease the gods. It was a requirement in Christianity. God don't require a pastor to go kill a child to do rituals to get power from God. God don't require a pastor to commit adultery and be a liar. It's antithetical to the Bible, so you're going against what the Bible teaches. We're not meant. We don't believe in pastors. We don't believe in pastors. We believe in the Bible and what God teaches us to do. So if you're going against it, you're not following Christ. That's what it means to be a Christian. You got to follow the examples of Christ and follow His life. So if you're going against what He teaches, you're not being a good Christian, or you're not being Christian at all. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Elvis. I'm also from Liberia. So another Liberian talking to another Liberian. Question. So let me ask you a question. So you saying that God never told the Israelite to go into you never answered that question, to the land of Canaan and kill innocent people. Did you ever answer that question?
No, I said that. I didn't answer it because you have to have context. You have to read the verses before to understand what the context is.
Oh man, bro.
No, but you gotta answer it. No, hold on. Answer it. Answer to the best of your ability. Answer to the best of your ability.
I think if I remember this verse, it was about I think they were like Canaanites who were corrupt, or people who were.
No, they wasn't corrupt. They was peaceful. Hold on. They were peaceful people according to the Bible. They were peaceful people.
No. They was doing African spirituality, and the Most High told the Israelites to go in and to slaughter
and kill them.
What?
Right.
Where did it say?
Yeah, because that's what I remember. I'm not sure about it, but I know that
where did it say African spirituality? Where
they were practicing witchcraft. They were practicing idolatry. They were practicing a religion that is not of God.
Let's get more specific. In the Bible, it says that they was worshiping different
Balaam. Yeah, they were watching some Balaam or something like that.
You had Moloch, you had Dagon, which is the water spirit that a lot of that you can read about inside.
You had Baal.
Hold on.
Amos. You had all these idols that these Africans were worshiping. So
no problem. Hold on, no problem. But according to them, with their witchcraft they were doing in the land of Canaan, they were still peaceful people.
No, because if God's people are doing, that's why cleansing your land is important. Because if people commit sacrifice on your land, you have to cleanse that land, or else it's gonna have a bad spirit associated with it.
Okay, next question, because you didn't really answer my question. The next question for me is, hold on. So the next question I ask is, can you tell me in world history where the Israelites, Jews or Hebrews, have given a groundbreaking idea? Without this groundbreaking idea, the world would not be the same. If this technology or this technology was ever brought, if the Hebrews, Jews, or whoever never brought it to mankind, can you tell me one groundbreaking idea that was given to the world in the name of the Bible in ancient time? Like, we know the Egyptian made the first step pyramids, or even chairs, like actual chairs. Can you tell me, or geometry, or can you tell me anything you could point through in history that without the Hebrew Israelite we were not having in today's time? Can you give me an example? Can you give me one example?
The Bible.
So you're basically saying, what's the mark?
The greatest book of all time, the Bible.
No, I ain't say that. No, I'm saying a groundbreaking idea that we use as human, as man. Right,
hold on. I got what you're saying, but I think you're confused about Hebrew Israelites, right? Israelites didn't come about until you had the person named Israel who had 12 sons, and then his 12 sons grew into 12 tribes, right? Before then, you had his father, which was Isaac. Before him, you had Abraham. Now, Abraham's father was an idol. He worshipped the African religions, right? Because Abraham.
Nah, he wasn't in Africa though. He was in the Near Eastern. That's far
Yeah,
away
he was
from
in
Africa.
he was in
African
Ur in
religion.
Iraq. He was in Iraq.
So that's not Africa.
No, Iraq is not in Africa, bro.
Can I please
So
ask
quit using Africa. Don't put Africa in it because we talking about Near
please.
Eastern.
Dennis, can you help me batch this documentary? I still you asked me to sign in. Do I have to create a login?
Maybe the African gods don't want you to buy it.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna walk through this together. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna walk through this together. Hold on. Because we're gonna get this done. We're gonna get this done. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. All right. Do you see where it says stream for $10.99?
No.
Come on.
Where are you?
Okay, you asked me to click on the link on top where on top of your head, right? When it
So
said
you
the
do- hold on.
documentary is such.
Hold on. So see this link right here.
Let me
Are you
come
looking at
back.
the screen? Are you looking at the screen?
Oh no, that's not where I was. Let me see. Let me go back.
Did you go to searchforwhoover.com?
Got it now. Yeah.
Okay, you click on this link. All
And
right.
then what?
It's going to take you to this page right here. All right, so when you click on that link, it's going to take you to this page right here. Are you on this page?
Yes.
You see where it says stream for $10.99?
Let me go back. Yes. Click on it.
You click on that and put all your information in.
Okay.
It's self-explanatory from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Quick question.
Hi,
Elvis.
Dinus.
Elvis. Quick question for Elvis. How are
Hold on.
how
Did
are
somebody
the
say hi, Dinus? Oh, whoa, hold on. One minute. Did somebody say hi, Dinus?
Yes.
Did you buy
Yes,
the documentary?
It's Jenny. It's Jenny Ogo. I just wanted
Hey,
to make a small contribution, and I'm out.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So I joined somewhere in the middle of the show where where some of you were asking where is the proof of this and that, history, culture, and everything in Africa. And I just wanted to remind us that, looking back, a lot of African history, because we didn't write it down. Well, speaking from my own West African viewpoint, we didn't write it down, we didn't document them down, but they were being told from generation to generation. So that is one I know that exists, because when I lost my father, I'm Shekiri. When I lost my father, they had this incredible ceremony for him, cultural ceremony, and it was so apt. It was so rich. It was so well. Everything was just perfect. And I'm like, this is something that has been done ages and ages ago, and that tradition still exists today, because it's been passed from generation to generation. And just to buttress my point about the fact that, folklore and tales and stories been passed from generation to generation in African history. If you read about the griots in West Africa in the Songhai Empire era, you would understand where I'm coming from. They were a group of storytellers, singers, musicians. These were people from the Songhai Empire era, which is about what, if I'm not wrong, 14th, 15th century. And, they were trained as orators, lyricists, and musicians. The griots I'm reading this from the Wikipedia. The griot kept records of all of the births, deaths, marriages through the generations of the village or family. And these were the guys who gave accounts of Mansa Musa as well. So if anybody wants to really know, like, I understand a lot of people come here and probably don't really know much. Even I'm learning as well. I'm from Nigeria, but I'm not like a professor of history or anything like that. I'm learning as well. And how I even came to know about the griots is because I was writing a movie, a stage play. I was adapting the Askia Mohammed of the Songhai Empire. I was adapting a play around that story, and I did my research, and that's how I got to know about this. And then coming to the Ifa and all of this, our own, what would you call it now? The traditions we have, like the Ifa, the Oduduwa and
Orishas.
everything. Yeah. I follow somebody called Frankly Speaking. He's a guy based in the UK. I can send you his link. I just think you and him, if you got in touch, he would expose a lot, because he's an Ifa person. He's so deep into it. And this is a very exposed, well-educated guy. And this is what Ifa divination, he even conducts sessions for it. He will say, come, if you want to be part of this, get in touch with me and I'll do this and do that. So I think people like that, if they come on your show, they can provide, shed more light on, the deities and stuff that we practice in West Africa, in Nigeria, in the Yoruba land as well. So that's just all I wanted to contribute. I believe so much in our history and the authenticity of it, because these are being passed from generation to generation. The only thing is that we never wrote it down. And that's where the Europeans had that edge. When they came, they were writing stuff for us and stuff like that. But even in the Mansa Musa period, there were people who wrote, there were scholars, Muslim scholars who wrote stuff down about, I'm trying to remember the name now. Not Mansa Musa, the one before the Askia Muhammad. What's his name? One of the kings anyway. They wrote down accounts, but because the kingdom was invaded by this king, they
Yeah, something happened to her mic.
She was 100% right though. What
Yeah.
she was saying. I feel like where Africans traditional religions are lacking in is the literature. Like, we should be mass printing a bunch of literature that explains these religions and can
It would never be that. You know why? Because it's a secret society.
Elvis, I
It's a secret
don't have time
society.
for your
It's not like
negativity, bro.
Christianity where anybody can join.
I don't
Okay,
have time for your
guys, listen,
negativity.
we're about to some I don't know what's going on with the internet, but hey, listen, we're about to close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. Again, there are 300 people, over 300 people in the chat. Again, there are over 300 people in the chat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man, with the stream. Hold on one second. Let me I don't know what happened. Yeah, but there are over 300 people in the chat. There are over 300 people in the chat. Please go and support the documentary. Again, please go and support the documentary. There are over 300 people in the chat. Go to searchforhuru.com, click that big blue link, and it'll forward you to where to pay for the documentary. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty, Search for Huru. Peace.